Welcome everybody to the Room250 Podcast.
One tiny pixel at a time.
We all have a Room 250. It's that room where creativity happens.
Welcome back everybody to the Room250 Podcast, where creatives sit down, have a conversation, and hopefully inspire current and future designers to crush their creative goals one pixel at a time. I am one of three hosts, Arturo Pete Peralta. I am joined by my two best friends, Martin Edo Soy Bautista and David Patrick Sly. And tonight, our guest is the amazing, the talented, the molder of minds, the inspirational Barney Abramson, creative service manager for Butler Till.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, bro.
Happy to be here.
Barney. Hell yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media, the TikTok, the Instagram, and the YouTube. We post all of our shorts all on all three of those.
If you're
And
new to our
videos.
channel and you don't know what Room 250 is, Room 250 is that room where you go and get away from everybody and sit down and let the creativity flow through your body, and you put it on paper or on the screen. That's what Room 250 is, and that's what we're about.
Love it.
Thank you.
Boom. All right.
Let's go.
And as we start off every single episode, actually, I want to show the can before I pop it, because
show the can.
it's a pretty cool can. But one thing we're trying to do now, Barney, in the channel is like we try to have like a, because we were fans of beer can art, right? So we try to have a new beer every single episode. But this one that I actually got this, Angela, my wife, got it for Father's Day. It's from Roadhouse Brewing Company. It's a hazy IPA.
I love
And
hazy.
just the artwork is just freaking super cool on this. So I just learned how to do all this stuff too. And then I have this nice little like I can't even talk right now.
Pattern.
Metallic look to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually a layer of white. That's what comes through. You could have it at a certain opacity, and then that's the actual can coming through it. So you play with the opacity color, and then that's how it comes through, which is pretty sick. But I mean, like, just super badass typography.
I love that.
on there. The pattern, like everything on here, the color. So just a super rad can right there.
That is sick.
Dope.
What you got, Martin?
What you got, Sly?
Oh,
okay.
I'll show mine. Okay.
All right, go.
All right. I got this one. I just picked this one up today. It's called There Was a Time, and it's by Drecker. So this is kind of like this cool cat. It's cat. And I saw the three cats, and I was like, oh, that's me and my two daughters. And then I realized there's all these other cats, and I'm like, hell no, that's not me. That's too many kids.
That's the old you.
Yeah, that's the old me. But it's
nice.
Super sick illustration. India Pale Ale.
That looks like something you would draw.
Yeah, it does. For sure.
You should
Really
do
sick.
something like that.
Awesome.
Here's the pop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Martin.
Well, I'm sticking with the summer stuff, so I went to Sam's. So you guys, if you go to Sam's, you can pick this up. It's available. I got a shock top, and again, the colors is what pulled me in. All right, sorry. So like
Nice.
you got the pinks, you got the yellows, and this is a lemonade. I love lemonade, so I'm hoping that this is tasty. So let's do this.
Nice.
Pop. There you go.
Let me see what it tastes like.
Obviously, Barney has it in his
I
glass
didn't
already,
know.
so-
Yeah,
I didn't know
Barney,
the
what are you
format,
drinking
so
on?
my bad. I got it in my glass. I got a little mango cart right here.
It's all good.
Damn it,
We're
Barney!
good.
Mango
What
cart.
are you drinking?
And I mean, the art of mango cart
Ooh,
is
that's a good
badass,
one.
too. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not as
That's
cool
my
as what you shared, but still.
Yeah.
No, they still have
Cheers.
cool illustration on it. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. To a good episode.
Yeah,
Good conversation.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Oh,
Barney,
my
if you like
arrogant bastard.
mango cart, you
Ooh,
gotta
that's
try
good.
the Corona. I call it citrus.
Okay.
Corona citrus.
Citrus, this guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good. Citrus. It sounds way better.
Honestly,
It's
like,
really
he-
good.
Pete put me on
All
like IPAs like years ago, 6-7 years ago, and I've been drinking IPAs ever since then. And I still hazies are my thing right now. The Sierra Nevada hazies, I've been drinking that for a while, but I usually don't have mango cart, but we had a party. I had a bunch of leftover beer, so just drinking through it. Can't
Nice.
throw it away.
How it goes.
bro.
Yeah.
All right, let's warm up real quick. Just a quick
Okay.
5-question shooter. Just shooting off the hip here, Barney, and this is gonna be for
All
you.
right, let's go.
You ready?
Burn it up, boy. Let's get it.
All right. Batman or Goku?
Ah, man.
Oh.
I want to say Batman. I'm old school.
Right.
Man. Okay.
Illustrator or Photoshop?
Straight up, all day.
Avant-garde or Montserrat font?
Damn, dude, that's a hard one. Avant-garde, when I was in college, that was like the thing. But I want to say avant-garde.
Crunchy tacos or soft tacos?
Soft tacos.
And pencil or paper?
Pencil or paper?
Yeah, pencil or paper.
In what sense? Like in
what?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a random question.
Bro, fucking paper all day, bro. You gotta wipe your butt.
It depends on what you're doing with
something.
It's just to make you. It's just to make you think. Like, again, the radio show that I listen to, he'll ask the guest questions, and he goes, "What's shorter, a rope?" And they're like, "A rope or what?" Like, well, what? Anyways, all right, let's start our conversation. So, Barney, tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've been an artist my whole life. Even when I was a little kid, I remember all my friends were outside playing, and I was in my room drawing, painting. I used to love Thundercats back in the day, so I would draw like all the characters. My dad bought me like a chalkboard and like a box of crayons or something, and I would just sit there all day long, just and like my dad's like, "Oh, maybe you should go outside a little bit." But so yeah, I've been a creative person my whole life. I think I kind of suppressed that for a long time. Even when I was in high school, I would take like an art class for fun, but I never saw it as a business or something I could do in the future. And it really wasn't until I went to college that I struggled with. I was a horrible student, so I struggled with just yeah, I know that. Yeah,
cheers to that.
Like you didn't pay attention, or you got in trouble.
Honestly,
like fighting, or you just like ADD.
Looking back, I think it was a couple of things. I think one of it was culture shock. I grew up in a little tiny immigrant town where everyone spoke Spanish. And when I went to college, it was a predominantly white school. So I went from, being in an environment where I was like, I felt like everybody knew me. I felt like everyone spoke and looked like me. So from that to college, it was a big shock for me. And it just took me a long time to get used to it. So like my first semester, my GPA was like, the lowest, like 1.7. And I was like, wow. I was academic probation. I had to like really like work my way up to getting good grades. And the way that I did that was by taking art classes, because I knew that if I took an art class, I knew I was going to get a good grade. So in between the other things that I was doing, I just kept taking more art classes. And then someone grabbed me and said, why are you not an art major? Like, why are you wasting your time? And that's kind of when it all clicked.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I mean, I hate to date myself, but graphic design wasn't such a big field like it is now. So it wasn't something that was on my radar.
When did you go to college? What year? What year did you go to college?
Yeah. So yeah,
oh, wow.
Like graphic design wasn't a thing back then. Not like it is now. So, but the school that I went to had a really good art program. They had a good graphic design program. So I just ended up going in that direction. I mean, I like computers. I was artistic, and it just kind of was a good mesh for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into the field. Immediately after college, I just went on to start my career, worked for a pharmaceutical company as a kind of junior designer, entry-level kind of designer in a marketing department. Then transitioned to Las Vegas in 2004. And thankfully, I got into the gaming industry, and then the rest was history. I was in gaming for almost 20 years, 15 years in gaming. And I mean, Pete and I worked together at a gaming company back in the day. So that's really where I really kind of learned how to be a designer and really picked up on the things that I liked, didn't like, really kind of honed in and just really figure out my style. And it was also the opportunity that I had to start managing. So I went into like art direction, creative services manager, and then I've been doing that for the last 10 years. So did that for a while at different gaming companies. And then the last 5 years, I worked at Southwest Gas as a creative services manager, kind of creative director, kind of mixed role. And then now kind of moving on from that into another field. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Barney one time came when me and Barney worked at IGT, one time he came straight from his UPS job.
Dude, I had this one brown, the one brown shirt I had. Pete wouldn't let it go.
So he came in, he had his brown polo and he had his brown pants. And I'm like, is that your UPS uniform? After that,
I don't think I ever wore that thing
never
again.
wore it ever again.
I don't think I ever wore that again.
He's like, you're an ass. That was my favorite shirt.
My
I'm like,
brown
sorry,
bro.
bro.
I love those.
And it was like,
bro.
It was maybe like
straight up
the first month that I started with the job.
Yeah,
I remember saying that, and like I clowned him for a second. Like it's just who I am. But let's take it back to the college days. What Photoshop did you start at? Was it like Photoshop 2? Or
no, I can't.
Do you remember what it was?
Probably 4. It was like 4. I really can't remember. But it was. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Did you buy the license?
Nobody nobody had a license. I mean, everyone had those bootleg CDs. I think I still have a bootleg CD somewhere. I had the whole suite.
Yeah.
Have a CD cracker. Yeah. Cracker CD.
Yeah, with the sheet full of codes, trying to figure out which one.
Yeah. So,
are you guys freezing?
This one doesn't work anymore.
Huh? What's up?
Are you guys freezing? Is the screen freezing, or is it just me?
No, they're like throughout freezing, but for me,
I don't a little choppy, but I think I only see Barney choppy, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, okay, the recording doesn't.
Sly and Martin, I see you guys freezing, and I see Barney choppy. Yeah. So
mine looks pretty good.
We'll just keep going. What kind of projects were you learning in college? Like, why did you choose graphic design? Like, how did you know, like, hey, this is actually where I want to go? Obviously, you were illustrating, you were drawing, but what drew you to graphic design?
I liked, I was good at drawing. I knew that was like a gift, I guess. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it was the one thing I knew that I could do without having to learn it. It was just a natural gift. So art and drawing, painting, sculpture, anything that had to do with being creative, I felt like it just came natural to me. And I remember that part of my financial aid package, I had to work. So I started working at the art building, and at first I was like doing like some of like the low level jobs, like literally cutting wax for the students who would come in and do their little sculpture. So I would like sit there, cut wax for hours. And then eventually I graduated to the second floor where it was like the art lab. It was like a computer lab with all the like the Mac 4s or whatever they were back then. So my job back then was to install Photoshop, install Illustrator. And then if anyone was in the lab having any kind of issues, I was supposed to be the person helping them. But I didn't know anything that I was doing. So after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to figure out the software because I don't know what I'm doing. They don't know what they're doing. So I started playing with Photoshop, playing with Illustrator. I think if I remember correctly, it was either Photoshop 4.0 or 5.0. And I started just messing with it, and I just really liked it. And I'm like, and I kind of understood the concept. I'm like, I could draw something, I could scan it, and then I can like convert it into something else in the computer. And that just kind of blew my mind. And then after that, I just started just getting into it. So as my grades were declining, when my advisor was like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? You need to figure this out. And I was like, well, I like computers and I like art. And she's like, why aren't you a graphic designer? So literally the very next semester, I started taking design courses, and that's how I got kind of into it. But yeah, I mean, I liked, initially back then, it was a lot of kind of photo manipulation in Photoshop and, creating art in Illustrator. And that was really the main tools that I remember using. And it just really came natural to me, and liking computers really helped. So
yeah.
I went to Bridgewater. So back then it was called Bridgewater State College. Now it's Bridgewater State University, and it's I wouldn't say small school, but it's a school in like the south of Boston, about 30 minutes from Boston, maybe 45 minutes. Yeah.
And that school, when you obviously switched over to the graphic designer course, did they like really hold your hand, like going through all these programs of like teaching you how to go, or is it just kind of like throw you in the deep end?
The programs back then, if I can remember, they were it was more about like you would learn so it definitely was not hands-on. We were not like, no one was sitting with you, teaching you how to use the software, teaching you how to use any of that, right? You would learn about like design principles, right? Color theory. It was more like a fine arts degree with some graphic design. And definitely like my professor did not know how to use a computer. Like she didn't know how to use it. Right. It was that level, right?
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
So she was teaching you kind of like design.
I mean, she knew about principles. She knew about what was good art, what was good design. She knew the program really well, but she was not someone that would sit with you and help you design something because she just didn't know how to do that. So it was up to us to like, it was up to us to take our time and learn the software on the side with no YouTube, by the way. So it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was on YouTube back then.
Yeah. Was it more, you said, it's like fine art design versus like graphic design right now. What kind of projects were you working on? Was it more like the stuff in your background where it's kind of like graphic posters, or was it like actual advertising that they were having you do? I think back then
it was mostly about like corporate identities, right? So you would learn how to do business cards, letterheads. You would learn how to do like layout. So you would lay out a magazine cover. You would lay out like a multi-page document, trifold brochure. It was very much like preparing you to go into a job doing that kind of work. Nothing really was conceptual. It was more about like, here are the things that you're going to be designing. Let's learn how to do those things, right? Of course, as you went kind of higher into the program, we got into more like artistic things where like, you had free range to create something like super creative, like a poster, or maybe you were doing, I remember we did like a Motorola campaign where Motorola had a new phone, and we had like all this great photography. So we were giving all this photography, and we were like manipulating it, like masking things, putting, typography in the background. And I remember making like an entire, I guess, like an entire little kit that was like a poster, business cards, some packaging items, a little bit like that.
Was InDesign back then
so
or no?
Corel Draw was still pretty popular. So Corel and I think InDesign were still kind of, InDesign just was starting back then, the way that I remember it. But we spent a lot of time using Corel Draw.
Okay. And what was the I guess the MSRP on your degree? How much did it cost at that time frame to get a degree in
Let's see, I finished paying my loan last year's. So
oh man.
Thank you, appreciate it. It took like 22 years. So I think so I'll tell you how much I owed when I left. So I owed about $22,000 when I left.
Wow. When did you graduate?
Okay.
That was pretty reasonable.
So that was pricey for that time frame,
it was
right?
I think it was average, but it was it was pricey, it was pretty average. I mean, I obviously I had financial aid, I had loans that I took and all that, so that's how I was able to afford it. But at the end of when I was done and I got my first bill, it was $22,000.
Holy moly!
Which would be 40 grand today. I just did a little calculator. Like 40 grand today.
60 now.
I just did the calculator.
For the Art Institute for us, I got locked in at like 95,000.
Really?
When I went to school. Yeah.
I got locked in at 120.
Gosh. Wow.
Yeah. I paid back like almost 50,000, and then we got that forgiveness stuff from the Biden administration or whatever else that they covered. So I paid a good amount of back, and then I noticed Slide did too. But so
I didn't get any relief. I had to pay mine back 100%, but we worked it out with my mom.
There you go.
She helped me pay it off.
Well, mom.
So when you were going to school, what was your dream? What were you aiming for when you graduated? Like, where did you want to work, or where did you see yourself? Hey, this is where I'm going to be doing the next 3 years to
after I graduated.
Years. Yeah,
in the beginning, college. I think that I remember we had a professor that came in, and she had her own agency, and she was so cool the way she dressed. she was so wise. He was talking about like marketing stuff and agency work and pitching this. And I just fell in love with her. I was like, I want to be that person. Like if I could be that person, I would feel like I made it. So I think part of me wanted to have my own business, maybe my own agency, my own, I think a lot of us kind of feel like right away you want to start your own thing. But so, and you know, obviously I thought of working for an agency. I think that was probably my biggest dream back then. You know, I think the idea of going into an agency and kind of learning how to be a designer, working with different brands and different clients was very attractive to me. I thought, okay, this is a great way for me to like really learn fast and really get, you know, just get good at being a designer. But unfortunately, I feel like corporate America kind of grabbed me. And once I started working in-house, I never stopped. You know, my first job, I worked for a pharmaceutical company. I was in marketing, basically doing anything from, I did a lot of photo retouching. So we had, it was, we had this we would do testing on animals, basically. we
animal.
How dare you? Peter's coming for you.
I've got some horrible jobs now that I think about it. But part of the company, they would do a lot of testing, and they had, you know, rats and rabbits and all kinds of animals. So my job was to like take the photography that, you know, that from the animals, and I would have to, you know, mask it, clean it up, do some retouching. But one thing that my director was really keen on is like, you know, the hair and the fur on the animals needed to look realistic. And, you know, back then masking wasn't something, you know, like now you just click a button and it's done. There's a million tricks and tips on how to do it. But back then you would mask it like, you know, like the real hard mask, you know, around the whole thing. And then you would take like the pressure tool and you would like literally make every single hair, like every single thing. So you would zoom in and you would sit there just like making little hairs for hours, man. I did that for a long time. So I was doing that. I remember I was also in charge of like scanning. So anything that needed to be scanned, anything high res, or if we had a photo that we didn't have, you know, in digital. So we would get like the photographer would drop off like a packet of photography that would have to be then scanned or something. Or the film, he would drop the film that you would have to scan. So I would have to drive 45 minutes to New Hampshire to like a scanning company, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but
from where were you at now?
So where were you? Where's your company at? Right. So I'm working for this pharmaceutical company. I'm like doing a lot of photo retouching. I you know, the photographer takes the pictures, he delivers either photos or the film. Then you take that film to like a scanning company, and then they would scan it for you, like super high res. They had this like giant drums that they would put the photos, and they would
plus DPI.
I don't know, they would somehow scan it. So then I would drive 45 minutes, drop it off, and then 7 days later I would go pick it up. And that, and then it would just give you like a CD, and then you would have everything on a CD. So that's how you would scan photography back in the day. So you would
Was the company paying? Was the company paying for you to drive?
Yeah, I mean, it was all
like
paid for. Yeah, absolutely.
Or was
it was all paid
own?
for. You know, I would, you know, write down my miles and all that.
Do you feel like it was good compensation?
For driving? I mean,
you feel like it was good compensation?
I mean, it was
like for everything that you were doing?
So it was a salary job. So I just, you know,
oh, okay.
I went in, he's like, oh, Barney, here's a bunch of film. Go get it scanned. I would just grab my car, drive up, and then 7 days later, go pick it up, put it on the computer, and archive it.
So you were photoshopping the paint off of animals and bunnies that they're getting their heads ripped off.
Well, let me tell you, the funniest thing about this job is that I was there for about like 9 months, and I'm like, I haven't seen one animal. Like, where are all the animals? Like, I know they're in the building somewhere. So they kept marketing.
Barney's wearing a coat. He's got a new coat. He's got the squirrel hat. He's like, I don't know these animals, man. All these gifts are awesome that they're giving me.
I'm hella warm. That's all I know. I'm warm as fuck.
Yeah, but I never, honestly, no lie, I never saw one single live animal. Not because they were all dead, but because I just never saw one.
Oh, yeah.
So my job was really just.
He's got to preface. He's got to say they're not dead. No dead animals.
Like, Barney, you're worrying them, Barney. You're worrying them.
So a lot of what I did besides photo retouching was we would create these manuals, right? Because it was a lot of scientific work, right? So they would give us 100-word documents that you had to do page layout and make them look nice, even though it was boring. A lot of it was kind of dated, and then eventually I started doing more of the fun work. Like we had trade shows, so I would do booth designs and all kinds of marketing collateral for the events and the trade shows. I mean, it was a fun job, and my director at the time really kind of took me in. He wanted to teach me the ropes, and he really wanted to help me. So he would sit with me and kind of walk me through his process. Like, oh, here's how I do this thing, right? And then he would give me an assignment. And he would kind of escalate, okay, now you're doing photo retouching. Now let's do a 1-page layout. Now let's do a 3-page layout, right? So I feel like he was really patient, and he really helped me understand the process and do things correctly. And I mean, I remember being very happy about it.
Bro, how big was your team? So lucky.
Yeah,
you're so lucky to have that, bro.
You don't get that now. Not as much.
I just remembered the scene from Next Friday with Little Joker, where he's like, "That's cruelty to animals, fool." You're super happy, so that's the thing about design. Everyone just sees the final output and stuff, but yeah. And when you first start, everyone has that dream. I mean, that's kind of how Room250 started. It was Room250 was where at the Art Institute where you learned graphic design. That was at nighttime. Yeah, that's where I met Sly and Martin and a bunch of other friends that have been guests on our show. Room250 was the graphic design room. So again, I remember saying that to myself when I graduated, I'm going to start my own agency. I'm going to do my own stuff. Not realizing at all the get your ass handed to you that for many years for you to learn all the ropes. My first job at an agency, I had to cut out 100 images, and it was teddy bears and keychains and beer cans. And I'm like, this is what I went to school for. This is work at the beginning. This is graphic design. I remember cutting out a bear. Literally, it was for Hofbräu House, and it was for their Oktoberfest stuff. Literally, it was 100 images. That was my entire job all week, and I was just sitting there with the pen. That's how I got really good with the pen tool, but just cutting out shit. And I just remember cutting out that bear. And I'm like, man, this is some bullshit. This is, I paid all this money. I worked my ass off just to get here. And this is my first job. Someone has to do that stuff. So how did you land that first
Very
job?
Traditional way. I mean, I mean, back then you would literally drive to the office and hand your resume. So, I had a bunch of resumes. I just went around the city, applying everywhere. I mean, I honestly, I remember being very lucky. I graduated. I was doing a bit of part-time work at IBM, doing it was a temp job. So I was doing clerical work, and they just called me hey, Barney, we want to interview you, whatever. I went for the interview. I remember I had worked on this one logo, and this guy just loved it. He was obsessed with it. He's like, how do you make it? How do you do it? And he would just not leave me alone about this damn logo, which I don't even remember it being that meaningful, but he loved it. And then it was kind of the thing that got, he could see my potential through that literally one single design, I think was what got me this job. Because I remember years later, he was still talking about that stupid logo. So there you go. Every single design, even the small ones, sometimes make the biggest impact. So yeah, he looked at my work. I remember, I was wearing this green suit that my dad bought me, in a tie and everything, and I brought my little portfolio, which is in a big, a big little bag thing. So I just brought everything in, laid everything out.
Yeah, case.
Walked him through all the designs, and then he just he's like, hey, we want to hire you, and that was it. It was really that simple. It took maybe 4 to 6 weeks after I graduated. I immediately went into a part-time, temp work while I was waiting for that job to come through. And then it just came through within maybe 6 weeks. It was great. I mean, I had a great experience.
Nice. That's awesome.
What was your team?
What was that?
Well, what was your salary? What was your salary when you first started that job? Do you remember?
I think it was 32 to 35,000. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
bad.
I mean, we're talking
That's
about
not-
like
that's not bad, but that's
2003, maybe.
3. Yeah, that's not
pretty.
yeah.
For
Dude, I
starting,
thought I was
really
I,
good.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
thought I was like on top of the world. I mean, I remember like I would sit in my cube and I would spin around my chair thinking like they're just paying me to sit here and like make things look pretty. Yeah, man, for real.
We slaughter animals.
Hey, man.
I make them smile.
I mean, I was still borrowing money from my mom, but whatever.
I got my
I feel
bunny chunnies on. I'm getting paid. Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was about 30,
That's
like
me.
30,
Slot, you had a
32 to
question?
35. I mean, I'm trying to guess here, but that's probably about that much.
Okay.
Yeah, my question was, you're talking about this big pharmaceutical company that you're working for. How big was the team that you were working on?
It was small.
for
I mean, we
design?
had a director, we had a senior designer, and myself, and that was like really the creative team. We did also have a copywriter, and which was great because this guy would just really take care of all copy. I mean, we were doing multi-page documents, things that I didn't want to read. So having a copywriter was like heaven sent. So that's it. Really, it was like 4 of us. That was like really the entire team. It was pretty small.
Okay. And
Not
how
that
long were you there
maybe
for?
2 years. Yeah.
Okay. So after that, where did you go? Where does the Barney journey go after that?
I mean, I straight up, I got fired from that job just for being a fool. I left that job.
Okay.
Let's not talk about
He
that.
said I got fired.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Was that? Was that a mistake?
Okay. Yeah, you brought it up, bro. You brought it up. Now we gotta talk about it.
Let me
Sure.
step back just a bit. Like obviously, when people start their career, did
Absolutely.
you make any mistakes in that time frame, 2 years? Like, what was a big mistake that you remember that you did while you were there?
To be 100% honest, it was a little bit of that kind of that hustle mentality, right? I before I started working at this company, like any designer that graduates, you start getting clients as soon as you can, right? So I came into this job with a bunch of clients, and they were, and I was like in the middle of it was, in the small town that I grew up in, we had a yearly like festival. And I was in charge of doing like the program for the festival, in addition to like a lot of the artwork for the city that was happening during that kind of 2-week festival period. And I came into this job with all that work kind of being done, right? So I thought, okay, let me try to like stop that and focus on my career, right? I did that for about a year, and then the next time the event came around, they come to me and I'm like, oh, I could do both. I can make a little money on the side. And I think I was a little bit kind of double dipping my hours here and there. And I just kind of made a few mistakes. And, thinking back, honestly, it wasn't something that was that major. It's not something, I feel like this is something that people do now normally. Like people are, every designer we know has like a side gig, or they're doing a brand project for a friend or a parent or a family member, or maybe they're full on LinkedIn talking about their side gigs, right? So that's normal now. That was not normal back then, right? So a lot of it was, questioning me about, well, are you doing this at work or not? And I'm like, no, I do what I do at work, and I do everything else, at home. But it wasn't that easy back then to explain that. And listen, I don't like to get into like, I tried to stay away from like political talk and all that shit. But, I was the only brown guy in the entire marketing department. Right. And I felt like there was like a magnifying glass on me. I remember they were checking my emails. They're like, oh, Barney, why? Like,
wow.
like they were literally saying like, your email volume is either too high or too low. I'm like, okay. Or like my time on like, on the web was too much. So it was like all these little nitpicky things that I felt like I was being picked on. And then eventually, like the one time that I'm like, I gotta send this email real quick, So I'm like, I'm just gonna send it from work. And that literally that one single time I did something, I was caught right away. Oh, and there was no grace. Like there was no like room for me to like apologize. It was like, oh, you made a mistake. And like they would quickly put me on probation and told me to go home. And then by the next week I was gone. And I was like, wow, that was like brutal. Like,
wow, that's bullshit, bro.
No.
What's the name of that company?
I don't.
Fuck
no, I
know. Fuck him, Barney.
No, yeah, this is Asian history.
They killed a bunch of animals.
And the times were different, and we have to remember, 20 something years ago, things were just different, right? But in many ways, and I speak about this publicly. I've written a few articles and newsletters and blogs about this in the past, and I've talked about it in other podcasts. But yeah, I mean, I think I was definitely targeted in a way. I was the only brown guy in the entire building, and I felt like I was always walking on eggshells, and I had to be like my perfect self every single step of the way so that I wouldn't get in trouble. And then the second I step out of line, it was like the punishment really didn't match what I was doing. So anyways, that's kind of what happened, and I ended up getting let go. So anyways, that was my first kind of like getting fired experience.
I mean, what do you expect, bro? What'd you expect? They killed animals for profit.
Yeah.
Sure, bro. They're heartless already, bro. They were fucking heartless already.
Like, wait a minute, you went to the bathroom 2 times?
Well, like I remember one day I walked out of the building and I went to, they had a cafeteria, and I went to the cafeteria, and then on the way back, I went through the wrong door. So I scanned my badge and it didn't open. So I was like, oh, I must be turned around. So I left. I go back to marketing, and within like 30 minutes, I get an email that they flagged my badge for going into a restricted area. And I'm like, dude, like I was lost, man. Like I was just walking around.
That's where they torture people, dude.
I work at this company.
That's when they had the bunnies, bro.
Yeah,
that's why you were gonna walk in on the bunnies.
They had the bunnies right there. Yeah,
you can't go in there, bro.
They're like, show me your hidden camera. Where's your hidden camera?
Man, I mean, it was
Barney swallowed the flash drive.
It was definitely like an experience. Like I realized, like, okay, obviously, I'm gonna have to like really try really hard to not let that happen again, so that I can, so that I can have a career. I mean, I had a lot of pressures too. I mean, I had, friends and family members like saying, like encouraging me to do more work and do other things to make more money at the time. So I felt a lot of pressure to like, provide for my parents and all that. So again, it was kind of that hustle mentality, but I knew that was not going to serve me in the long run. So I had to like really change my approach, which is kind of part of the reason probably why I moved from New England to Las Vegas. I felt like I needed to like, I hate to say it, man, because it makes me feel bad now that I'm much older, but I had to kind of break that chain a little bit so that I can kind of do things differently and then come back, right? And that's kind of what ended up happening.
So you leave that place, and then that's where you move to Las Vegas. So you leave Boston?
Yeah, so I was in the Boston area. I have a dual degree in communications and fine art. So I thought, well, maybe art is not my thing. So I went into, I started doing mentoring for like a local youth program. I was like a youth counselor, and I was helping students.
Well, wow, so you've been doing this for a while.
That's kind of where it started, right? Yeah. So I was doing I was a youth counselor. I was helping like at-risk high school students get jobs, get their license, get any sort of training, any kind of government program that could help, anyone that couldn't graduate. Thank you. That couldn't graduate in high school. Huh?
No, you're a great man. Bro.
Seriously.
Not to cut you off, but that actually explains a lot, like just the kind of like leader that you are. You were one of my favorite bosses that I've had throughout my careers. You were always like just level-headed. You cared about the people. And I mean, just knowing this about your history, you and I have never really had a conversation like this. So like hearing this for the first time, like that, all of this just makes sense. So
continue. I did that for about a year. And then I came to Las Vegas with my college buddies looking to have like a hangover type weekend. And I ended up meeting my wife during that process and
never left.
She had a family member working at a gaming company, and they're like, hey, if you ever wanted to move, my cousin can probably get you a job. So I literally came back, visited, I applied, and my director at the time said, if you move, I'll give you this job. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, if you move, you come back, I'll give you this job. There was no letter, no promise. It was just like literally just a verbal thing. So I came back home, and I literally got on my car a few months later. Actually, I didn't even drive. I packed my bags and I just left. I just literally came back here with like one backpack, and I had an uncle that lived here and a cousin. So they kind of helped me out in the beginning, but I came with nothing. I had just like a bag full of clothing. That's it.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So you get fired, you're doing your mentoring stuff, and then you say you flew out here for the hangover weekend, and it was I missed that part.
So I flew out here with my college friends, and I ended up meeting my wife on like a blind date because my uncle that was living here, I know. Okay. Yeah. My uncle that was living here,
that's fucking dope.
My uncle had a girlfriend. His girlfriend at the time was working with my wife. They used to work at here at Metro, and honestly, I was actually very upset because I'm like, I'm out here trying to like do a hangover thing. I'm not here to like find the love.
Yeah,
and that's and that's and that was IGT.
It was Progressive Gaming. It was the name of the company. So yeah, I met my wife. We literally just kind of hooked up a little bit. I went back to New England. Months later, we started texting, and then this job opportunity came around, and I thought, oh well, this could be good for me. I can get back into design. I can be out of this environment and kind of, do my own thing. I just wanted to do my own thing. So I moved, and then, like my director said, I went to see her. She said, you moved, I'm going to give you the job. And I got the job, and I was there for about 5 years, kind of working in marketing.
Did you show her a portfolio? Is that how did that happen? That interaction where it was like, yeah, we have a job that we could give you. Did you like talk yourself up? Did you show a portfolio? How did that happen?
No lie. Let me tell you how I got this job, right?
Girl.
So
yeah, I got it.
I'm a designer.
I go in there. So I go in there, and the thing is like this: my wife's cousin. I never even met the guy. Like I never even saw him. I didn't saw him before, during, or after the job. So, but he did put in a reference, and I came in for the interview. And my director she just really liked me. I don't know. She just really liked me.
Hey, sometimes you just get that vibe. You're like, hey, I can vibe with this person.
It's energy, bro. It's that energy behind you.
She literally said, if you move, I'll give you the job. I think she saw my portfolio. Obviously, I didn't have my portfolio with me because I was traveling, and I also, back then nobody had a website, so I had none of that. I mean, she just kind of took a leap. Yeah.
Business card? Do you have a business card at least?
Back then, no. I had nothing. No.
Not even.
So,
damn. Nice.
So I left. I left for a few months, and when I came back, I was terrified because I'm like, what if this lady doesn't give me the job? So I call her. I'm like, hey, I'm in town, and she's like, can you come over Friday? This is like I get there. I got here like on a Monday, Tuesday. She's like, why don't you come over Friday and we'll interview you and her boss, like the VP of marketing or something. So I go in the office, I'm sitting with her. She's talking to me like the same thing, like repeated. I'm like, where's the VP? Like, what's up? Like, let's get this thing going. She's like, hey, the VP's not going to come. So we're just going to have you come back. So we're walking out of the building. I'm on the second floor. Oof. I'm like, man, I messed this up. So we get on the elevator. We go downstairs. The door opens, and there's a VP staring at me. He walks into the elevator, and my director says, oh, Tim, this is Barney. He's our new graphic designer. And he said, welcome to the company. And she said, I'll see you Monday. And I walked away. Just like that, dude. No lie.
Wow.
It was literally that.
Damn.
And then I came back Monday, and that's it. So
for everybody listening, it's never that simple. But for Barney, it's always that simple.
That's crazy.
Here's a question, Barney. Here's a question from me. So you were a graphic design, you got fired, you were obviously probably got sad about it, and then you were like, fuck it, I'm gonna do something else. So you go and you do something else that has not related to design. My question to you is, in the process while you were doing something else, was your mind like telling you, let's go back to graphic design, and you had the desire at all to go back into your craft, or you just wanted to keep doing what you were doing?
Man.
Also, how long was that time frame between that job and the new job?
I'm trying to prove something here, Barney. So that's why this question is very, very important.
Was my passion for design still there? I don't know, man. Like honestly, I felt like I think I was still licking my wounds for like 2 years, right? Like I was like, man, I messed up a good thing. I had a great job. I had a good career, and I just messed it up for being stupid. And I at the time I was blaming myself, and I thought that by kind of giving back to my community, I could like fix my karma or something. So I honestly was not even thinking about art or design. Mm-hmm. I didn't really like the job that I was doing because unfortunately, when you work for the government, you find out a lot of things about how the system's broken. And if you think it's broken now, you can imagine how broken it was 20 years ago for an inner city, like a little small immigrant town, right? So a lot of the things that I was learning and seeing was just didn't make me feel good. So I didn't want to leave that job because of design. I wanted to leave it because I didn't like the system, right? So when this opportunity with my wife came along, I thought, okay, this is my chance to get back into that career and my chance to go back to the thing that I loved. So yeah, the passion was there, but I wasn't really thinking about it at the time.
Yeah, but you literally like your statement was, I went into this other thing to get back to our community, kind of to make up for the mistake that I did. So that tells me that you always had the intentions to go back, but you felt like you did something wrong and you had to fix it. And so that to me is like, I believe that we are on our path, and whatever we want, we get. Whatever we ask for from the universe or God or whatever you believe is, we get. So you're literally saying that you wanted to get back into it, but you had to kind of like go through your path of redemption, kind of, right? Your redemption arc.
Give some penance.
So that's, I think that's why your path was so like that, because you did your penance and the universe or God was like, okay, cool. You did your time. Now it's time for you to go do what I want you to do, what you're meant to be doing. And that's why you're on that path. And that's why it was so easy for you, because you didn't even question it, right? It sounds like you didn't even question the fact that, your wife was like, yeah, come over and do this and this and this. Yeah. And somebody was like, yeah, I'll give you the job. You didn't question it. Anybody else would have been like, dude, you want me to like leave where I'm at without any contract and just go?
Yeah.
You're just like,
just a verbal.
I'm not gonna
you can have it.
I'm not gonna question. I ain't gonna question this shit. I'm gonna go do it, and you got it, and that's the beauty of it. Like,
thanks, man. Yeah, no, I did feel like the stars aligned. I felt lucky. I thought like I must have done something right that this happened to me, and I loved working at that company. I loved working for my director at the time. I did great work. It's really was my introduction into gaming, into the gaming industry, into doing trade shows. I was designing for like tiny little booths back in the day, and then I went from that to like giant booths and just like the Las Vegas style type of trade shows, and I really loved it, and that really kind of paved the way into like what I did next, right? So it really helped me out.
Awesome. So we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. It's time for a refill, and my beer number 2.
I'm already on mine, bro.
I was just about to. I was thinking the same thing.
Is from
mine hella early, bro.
Mine's from Melvin Brewing. They're from Wyoming. Yeah, they're big one there. I've been to their brewery. That's one of my favorite breweries to go to. But yeah, they do like cool. They do what's a little wooden figure that they have in art school?
Figurine.
Where it's
I got one right here.
Move it. Yeah.
Like posing figures. You can pose it wherever you want to be able to draw it. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that they have in their. Well, this one's more of a hophead, but almost all their stuff has a figurine like that on all their can artwork.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, shout out to
where did you get it?
Brewing. This is from Total Wine, but they're from Wyoming, which is I go there semi often. Nice. So shout out to them.
Very nice. For my second one, I'm bringing out this one. I thought it was super cool with all these little characters.
Dope. I love that.
It's called Weird Neighbor.
Dude, that's you.
Dude, those are dope, man.
Nice.
That's all
you're awesome. Characters.
Yeah, those are dope.
That's pretty sick.
West Coast. This does kind of look like me if I had my beard back.
Well, no, I'm saying like artwork, like art style.
Oh, yeah, art style for sure. Yeah, for sure.
100%. And Martin, what did you
I'm still babysitting this one.
No, it's a different one. I feel like I'm slacking on my cans. Damn, you guys are like making me look bad. I have Shock Top. This is the mango island flavor. Yeah, it's really good. It's really tasty.
But this one is way more smooth.
Now I'm gonna have to go hunting. I'm gonna go hunting for like some nice art beer because you guys have some dope ass fucking art beers. This is pretty cool, But I mean, I'm like,
that's why
you guys like
that's
went
why
to
I like
specialty
IPAs. They got the best cans for real.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was
They
an
do have
IPA.
really nice cans.
This
same
Catlin.
IPA.
But shout out to Beer Zombies. That's who I stop by my work. They're right next to my work. So right after work, I stop by and get a case of like, not a case, but like a 4-pack of like interesting beers. And I literally base them all off of the label because they're always rotating them. And I'm like, whatever looks coolest to me as a designer, I'm like, I want to get that one.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'll stick to the summer stuff for a bit. Okay. Anyways, let's go.
So we jump back into it, Barney. So now you start this gaming company. What's the emotion going through? Like, what's the salary and what's the first year look like?
God, salary. I'm gonna say again. I'm just guessing here, but I probably was making like 45 to 50 at the time, which I thought was great.
Okay,
nice. I was not complaining.
Time frame.
This is so. I'm gonna say, 2004, 4 maybe. Yeah, it was 2004 because that's when I moved.
Okay.
So I graduated 2002.
Okay. Nice.
I worked for about 2 years, then left, and then came here in 2004.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah. So salary was probably about 45. That's all I can remember. I'm sure it was about that much.
I have a question. Do you feel like you had to shake the rust off between that period of working at the pharmaceutical and going to this?
That's a great question because I came in I was not a junior designer. So I did feel a bit of pressure, like, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, I got to figure this out. But I do remember we had a very small marketing department. It was like me, our kind of senior designer that was kind of like the lead, and that's it. And we had a copywriter, and that was it. And then we had our marketing director and an event director, kind of PM person. She kind of wore many hats. And it's funny because a lot of the work we did, I believe that a lot of the work that was done for the games was, we had studios, right? And they were developing the game art and all that. And then they would provide a lot of the art to me for creating marketing collateral. So that's kind of the how things kind of went. And then I think we had an agency that would offload a lot of like the repetitive work. So like one sheets and things that were kind of being done all the time. So most of what I did then.
Do you remember that agency or no?
So, I mean, what I was doing back then, again, just a lot of marketing collateral, right? So I was doing one sheets, I was doing brochures, I was doing, I actually was eventually became like the webmaster, which is what, you call a web designer now or whatever. It's like a mix between a web designer and a web developer. It was like, a maintenance person. So I was like a webmaster. I don't know if you guys remember that title, but I helped literally rebuild the entire website. I also helped build we had a SharePoint that I built. We had a media library, so we had all this art and assets that no one could access them. So I built like this whole media library that you could log in. You could search for like a one sheet for a particular game. And I mean, it was very detailed because like a lot of these games are being shipped to different jurisdictions, different states, sometimes another country. So, a single game could have like 12 one sheets, right? So keeping everything organized was really hard. So my job was to like code everything, organize everything, keyword tags, all that. So I created an entire like platform for that, which wasn't really part of my wheelhouse, but I was like really the only designer that knew anything about web. So I was kind of doing both jobs.
For those that aren't designers that are listening, can you explain what
one sheet is basically like a marketing, I guess you can call it a flyer, but it's like a marketing document that it's information about a particular product or game. So for us, if we launched the game, like we had a Snoopy game back in the day. So when that game was ready to be sold to casinos, we would then create this one sheet that had like all the specs. So it's a picture of the game, all the specifications like the power, the the RAM, all that, kind of technical information, and then like a little marketing blurb. And then on the back, it had like a giant like spreadsheet of like, I don't know, like I can't really remember what it was, but it was
ratios
really boring
to win
stuff.
kind of thing.
So that's kind of like a one sheet. It's more informative and it's more about like technical information. But it's just technically like a one pager or like a 2-page flyer, I guess you can call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like an information sheet that you grab, that you kind of scan real quick. When you're looking for something specific, the person that grabs it gets the one sheet, and they're like, okay,
so
cool,
the salesperson would go meet, he was on his way to meet with the marketing, with a, the slot manager, right? So he would grab like all the one sheets of the games he was trying to promote or sell. He would just grab that, go to the casino, and like literally hand them the one sheet.
How many years were you
About
at this new place?
Progressive,
in those
right?
in those 5 years, what would you say is like some of the highlights in that time frame of your career?
Working at trade shows, we did G2E every year. We did Southern Gaming show in Mississippi. I love going to Mississippi. It was great. We had another show called NIGA. I don't know why they call it that, but it's like the Native American Gaming Association or something.
Dude, the first time I heard that, right, being in gaming, I was like, NIGA. I was like, well, when I first saw it, I was like, what did
I didn't hear it the first time. I'm like, what did you say? Because you said it so quick. He's like, I'm scared to say it, and I was like, what?
Well, no, when you first see it, I'm like, is this a spelling error or
no?
Like, I don't want to say this. How do you say this?
Now you said nalgas. I was like, what? Nalgas? Okay, I like nalgas. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
butt cheeks for people that don't speak Spanish.
Booty.
But, yeah,
so
no, not
the trade
NIGA.
shows.
Yeah,
I mean, were like, it was like our Super Bowl, right? So especially the ones here in Las Vegas, G2E, it's one of the biggest gaming shows in the world. So it was like our Super Bowl. So from video to website updates to a program guide, with every single game on like a little printed document. We were doing booth graphics for, we had cool games. So we would put, the graphics all over the booth. We had activities and things we did. And I mean, it's Las Vegas. So there was a lot of, wine and dining and drinking with customers and going out and just doing a lot of fun stuff. So to me, that was like the most exciting part of the job. It was just like the ability to do fun work, actually see it on a booth, and then see people interacting with the stuff you designed, right? And then obviously the entertainment aspect of it was great. I used to love that.
That's
so being at that job, were you leading people? Were there people below you?
No, and actually felt, again, this is maybe TMI, but I felt a little jaded because, I was there for about 2, maybe 3 years. And then our lead designer left. I got promoted to lead designer, but then very quickly they hired someone else. And he was just great at politics. This guy, man, he was just so good at just like talking his way through to the top. And he like surpassed me within like a few months. He was not really a great designer.
So that was Pete? No, I'm just kidding. I was like, that was Pete, right? No, I'm just kidding. Really good at politics.
Pedro.
No, but this guy just, again, politics at work are really important. You may not want to get into the politics, but sometimes, especially corporate stuff, you have to know how to navigate. And
you definitely have to play the game for sure.
He very quickly got ahead of me, and he became kind of like the lead designer, and he kind of became my manager, I guess you could say. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for me. That's when I realized, like, okay, obviously, I don't really see a lot of growth here, so I'm going to have to start looking for something else.
Real quick, I found a one sheet in my stuff here. I'm trying to share my screen.
Nice.
1 second. So this is a one sheet from IGT. So here's the wheel poker deluxe.
Hey, that's sensitive information. You can't share this.
It's premium. I don't work there no more. I don't care. This podcast is about sharing information.
It is.
So obviously it has
knowledge.
design.
That's
and
knowledge drop, homie. Right there.
All these cabinets. I learned that when I first got there. They're all cut out and everything. So you have to do this here. And then the second page here is like gives you all your specs. Buttons, other screens, all this other crap. Denominations. Yeah. bonus features, button panels, pricing, top awards, all that crap. So
easy setup. Oh hell yeah, I'll take 10 of them.
Yeah, but you know what? Like complimenting, I got it. Complimenting on the design. Whoever did this, that's boring shit, and they made it. That's boring stuff. But you made it consumable. Like I could look at that and be like, okay, cool. Versus looking at something that's just a white sheet with black copy and a bunch of copy
information.
Like, information.
So that's definitely, again, that's one of the, Barney, that's one of the things like why we created this podcast, just sharing all that knowledge of stuff that, you think of graphic design, you think of all this cool stuff in sports and media and all this other stuff, but there's so much more that happens before you get to that level. Everyone wants to see that level, especially with social media. It's like, oh, you could do this content and you can charge $15,000, and it's like, it doesn't really work that fucking way. Like it's that's bullshit. I call bullshit on that. So that's why we like to talk to leaders of the industry like yourself and share, like, hey, this is the road that got me here. This is the knowledge that we want to share. This is what it really takes to be a graphic designer. You're gonna be putting smiley faces on bunnies because that's just life.
They're happy for it, They like the testing. They like the testing.
They enjoy it.
So you get over pass on this job, and then you decide, okay, it's time for me to start looking. And then does that lead you to IGG?
It got complicated. So it was around, I think, 2008, maybe 2009. And if you remember, the economy just kind of tanked at that time.
The big bubble.
Right. Yeah, man. So I think it was October of 2008 when little by little people were just getting laid off. I remember I got much better at politics. And
did that force you to
absolutely
kind of learn it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because you saw that guy doing
really good at politics, and it was a gift and a curse because my cube was right next to the corporate area, right? So a lot of the executives to get into their offices, they had to kind of walk by my cube, right? So for me, I'm like, okay, so obviously I'm not making too much headway with my director at the time, who over time there was some issues there, not with me, but with the company. And I think she was, long story short, she ended up leaving the company with that other person that came in, and they started an agency together. So they left, but they did take a big chunk of the work that I was doing, that we were doing in the company. So they left with a lot of work that we were doing. So I essentially became the only designer in the entire company. And a big portion of it was outsourced to them. So I became kind of they became the agency. I was kind of the in-house person. And so I remember that my CEO would literally walk by me almost every other day. And one day he walked by me and he gave me a little napkin like this. And it was from a Southwest flight.
Meet me in the parking lot.
Meet me in the
back. Do you like me? Circle
no. No, let me tell you. This is a great little bit here because
it's okay, Barney.
This is a great bit because this is about taking advantage of the opportunities that present themselves to you, right? There's a lot of times that we get handed things and we just don't want to do it because we may be stubborn, maybe we're not getting paid, whatever it may be. Ego, whatever. But this guy literally walked by and he gave me a Southwest Airlines napkin with a PowerPoint presentation on it. He literally wrote the whole thing in the plane. He wrote, and he kept flipping it around and writing more stuff. And he's slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4. And he hands it over the cube and gives it to me. And he's like, Barney, can I get this by the end of the day? Now, I could have been a real, whatever, and said, no, that's not my responsibility. We have a person for that.
Yeah.
I don't work on financial PowerPoints, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't do that. I literally went to his admin and said, hey, I can't understand this guy's writing. Can you help me through this assignment, right? And I literally spent all day long trying to figure this thing out. Gave him the PowerPoint and he loved it. And then he invited me to that meeting. He brought me to that meeting. So here I am, in an executive meeting with a bunch of VPs and the little black guy just sitting there, just looking with my little laptop. I'm like, what am I doing in here? And he kept inviting me to meetings. He would just I don't know, man, maybe he just liked me. I can't explain it. He he thought I was a cool guy. He would invite me to these meetings, but I took advantage of that opportunity. Unfortunately, down the road, when the company was going down because of the economy, he got let go, and everyone that was sided with him kind of got let go. And I was one of the first group of people to kind of get kind of flushed out of the company because of that. But I mean, the company eventually went out of business. IGT ended up buying a lot of the technology the company had. So a lot of the folks from that company ended up going to IGT. So about a year later, I applied at a job at IGT. I knew a lot of the softwares and the programs and the games and everything. So it really helped me kind of get that job.
Did you feel retribution to that company? You're like, yeah, you fired me.
Eventually the company went back. I mean, the whole company went away, right? So, at the time I was very much like, damn, I made the wrong decision. I should have maybe not gotten, done that. But, within a few months, I mean, everybody was gone and the economy was so bad. My daughter was born, and she was born with like a tumor in her mouth. She went through surgeries and laser treatment. So I had that I was dealing with. I had just bought a home that I had to eventually lost because of the economy. Ooh. So like there was so much happening that the job was like just another thing that happened. So I didn't really. I didn't hold a grudge or anything. I was just kind of like, life sucks, in general.
Okay. Yeah.
So you got let go, and then you said a year later you started with IGT. In that year time frame, were you like freelancing or like
I made websites, I did program guides, I literally did everything. I was working almost every single day. I was hustling, doing whatever came my way, I would do it. And I did that for a while. I mean, I did it it was probably like 16 months. I was home freelancing and looking for work. I think I applied to 28 jobs in like a 6-month period, and I didn't get nothing. So there you go, right? Wow. Not all jobs are easy.
Wow.
So
yeah. How did you get your freelance? How did you get your freelance clients? Like, describe that to somebody who's maybe looking for freelance.
Right.
How would you go about it?
I mean, back then, again, it was a little different. I think that I had a lot of connections in the industry. Like, I remember my CEO of that company that I was working for, my CEO literally called me when I got fired. And he's like, "Oh, Barney, I feel really bad. What happened to you? What happened to everybody?" And he's like, I have a holding company I'm putting together. I would love for you to build the website. And that was like literally the first gig I got. And I remember meeting him. He and I kind of walked through the project. He told me what he wanted. Obviously, he and I had a great rapport. Like, he didn't have to explain anything. I just knew what he wanted. So I ended up doing a lot of work for him. And then another executive also gave me a few gigs. Another executive, his sister had a yoga site. So I built that for them. So kind of like word of mouth, really, just connections that I had made throughout the years.
Okay.
Hey, I totally understand that when it comes to just like kind of just grabbing whatever you can. I mean, right now I'm full-time freelance as well. And it's like, you need production work, gotcha. Yep. You need consulting, gotcha. You need art direction, gotcha. You need photography, I gotcha. Like, it's just, come on. So it's hustling, man. It's hustling like crazy. It's fucking, yeah. I mean, that passion for me is still there, but it's just like, I'm glad that it's like I'm not like infrastructure, like digging up holes or laying out wire or pulling people out of burning cars or anything like that. I'm like sitting here with my espresso and designing fucking flyers and shit. So, but
your job is important, Pete. Don't dismiss it. Jobs are important.
I'm not dismissing it at all.
We don't
but
say
like I'm saying,
but we keep the economy going. We manipulate people into buying shit.
Yeah,
and spending money. That's what we do.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember the first time I got hit with an ad, a web ad that I designed. I was like, annoying shit. Look at this. I was like, hey,
it's on my screen.
I created.
Fuck out of here.
I created this thing 2 weeks ago.
Good stuff, man.
Okay, so you take a year, you do your freelance stuff, you finally get an IGT. What was that experience like?
God, I mean, before IGT, I had like literally the worst jobs. I worked at Brady Industries, like they do like the toiletries for companies. It's a horrible job. Worst job I've ever had.
And I just hit toiletries. It was a shitty job.
Toiletries, yeah. Poopies.
Yeah.
My dad joke.
no, so so I went to the review journal. I was working for like the ad team.
Do you remember who you worked for?
Like, the newspaper. Oh gosh, no, I don't. But I did find my badge the other day, and I'm like, I can't believe I still have a badge for them.
What year did you work?
Yeah, what time frame was this?
It was a long. Dude, this is like 15
Let's look at your LinkedIn.
I still know people. There's people that, dude, we get emails every month of like, hey, this person's worked here for 40 years. I'm like, oh shit.
Yes, exactly.
But if you remember any names,
yeah, no, I don't remember. I mean, honestly, dude, I was there only like I was there. It was like I wanted my career at the review journal to be bigger, but I went into like this, quite large team of designers busting out ads all day long, and I mean, they were working hard. They were doing.
Were you there when they were doing full 24 hours? Because I have people on my team that were like, yeah, we were there 24 hours. There was a morning team and a night team.
Yeah, I was part of the morning team.
Okay, wow. You were there when, wow. Yeah, because they were sharing computers and everything.
And I mean, it was hard work. I got to tell you, man, it was like, they were doing a lot. So, I really wasn't used to that kind of speed and volume of work. I was more into like, more, for lack of better words, like more meaningful work, branding and strategy and all that. So I stayed there as long as I could. And then eventually they kind of saw my potential, and then they moved me over to the web team. And I actually ended up building, I think it was Black Image Magazine's website, the original website. I'm sure
we
now
still
it's
print
different.
them. Yeah,
is that
Black
right?
Image.
Well, I know that I still see their magazines.
Sly, was designers still in the same like studio that where you're in now, the same section?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
We've moved so many times. I don't even know where you would have worked, Barney. But I know in where I'm working at right now, we've moved like 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
Since I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when I got there, they had just moved, and then we moved again when that was like halfway through, and then we ended up where we're at now.
Sly has been there for 9 years, 8 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Yeah.
No.
Damn.
So since 2016.
Oh, wow. But yeah, it was before your time for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I built that website, and that's when they kind of really saw my potential. They're like, oh wow, we would love to keep you on the web team building more of these websites. And that's literally the day they told me that was the day that IGT called me, for the job. And I remember going, and I mean, no, not knocking down the RJ, but the pay was very minimal, way less than what I was used to making prior. So when I told them, I said, hey, I got an opportunity, and they were like, well, we would like to match whatever they're paying you. Like, they gave me like a 75-cent like raise or something. And I was like, no, man, no, like, no, you would have to pay me like $30 more for me to stay here. Like, it was not the kind of
so
pay
you were hourly
at
that moment, and you were going to a salary position. Yeah. Oh, that's so much better.
Absolutely.
So you started IGT in 2010. Yeah.
When I went to IGT? Yeah, so the economy tanked in 2008, October of 2008. I left. I was unemployed for about a year and a half.
Still grinding.
Kind of doing side things here and there, freelancing. I took that Brady job for a few weeks. I took another job for a couple of weeks. I also worked at Alpha Graphics, and I had a horrible experience there.
Damn.
And then again for like 4 weeks.
Is that the wrapping place, or?
Yeah, they're like Minuteman or like Kinko's back in the day. They just do like quick.
Oh yeah, that sounds terrible. So
I mean, I was trying everything, dude. I was doing whatever came my way. I would take whatever job. I mean, I had a family, so I was just doing whatever.
Was that like a temp agency?
But yeah, when IGT came on board.
Was that like a temp agency? I'm sorry.
Alpha Graphics was, I think I got that job through Apple One.
I worked at Apple, or I went through Apple One to find my jobs when I was looking for work, when I was like doing a bunch of temp works.
Yeah, and even I think the RJ could have been an Apple One job too.
Interesting.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barney.
So,
hey, is Barney frozen, or is it just me?
No.
Just you, bro.
He's moving for me. He's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, just ignore it.
Like somebody needs an internet upgrade.
No, you've been getting frozen Pete here and there. That's why I sent you that screenshot. So it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I just heard the wind outside, so I guess it's fucking super. I don't know. Anyways, let's go.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, Barney. I was just wondering because it sounds like the same thing. Yeah, Apple One is what I went through, and it sounds like the same experience I was doing. When I had got let go from my first job, I was like, I need to find just something, and I found Apple One, and they put me in a bunch of temp kind of graphic design jobs, and it sounded like my experience.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think that agencies are great. I mean, staffing agencies are a great way to get your foot in the door. I know that sometimes they get bad reps, but you never know. You could find, your ideal job through it. And during that time, it was ideal for me because it did help me kind of stay employed, stay relevant, I guess. And even the RJ, what I liked about the RJ and even Alpha Graphics, it was the volume of work that I was doing, right? I think before I would take my time, do a one sheet or doing whatever. I could take days, weeks, even months creating something for the RJ and even Alpha Graphics. I mean, I was busting out ads like every 30 minutes. I was done next,
It's very fast paced.
So yeah, IGT called and I went through the interview process, very professional. I felt like I finally made it to the big leagues, I interviewed here in Las Vegas, then they flew me out to Reno, where I literally interviewed with 7 people. I sat in a room and 7 people came into that room for about 5 hours.
5 hours? Wait, you got interviewed for 5 hours?
Damn.
When I got there, when they flew in, it was like it was 7 people, like every 30 to 45 minutes, someone came in.
So it was the 7 people at once.
Not at the same time. No. So one person would walk in, they would talk to me for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They would leave. Another person would walk in, talk to me for 45 minutes. And it was product marketing leads would come in. The creative director came in. Some other designers came in and talked to me.
The fuck? Designers?
I've never had an experience like that.
That's crazy, dude.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was grilled for like 4 or 5 hours.
He's like, Yahweh! Yeah.
They provide lunch.
But I mean, listen, to me, like I thought it was great. They flew me in, they paid for everything. They gave me kind of the VIP experience. I felt like this is like a real professional job, And then I got lucky, not lucky, but I went back to the RJ in like a week or two later. I remember, that little courtyard in the middle. I was like walking around the courtyard, like thinking like, God, please, something happened here. Right. And my phone rang and it was like, hey, Barney, we want to get you in here. And then I was there for 10 years.
Yes,
literally everything Martin keeps saying.
You asked and you received, bro. You were literally like, call me and bam, like that. Don't fucking doubt it, bro. God of the universe.
Look, I got my little salt lamp back here because I believe in all that.
God's got your back, homie.
That's a salt lamp.
I'm saying I believe in all that stuff. I got my salt lamp. I got my essential oils. I got my praying kit. I do it all, man. All that stuff works.
So you started at IGT, and what was your initial first title?
So IGT, I came in as a presentation designer, believe it or not. But going back to my CEO from that other company, had I never taken that napkin and followed through, after that one PowerPoint, I created all his PowerPoints. I was the only person that could touch his work. So I was really doing kind of like C-suite level creative and PowerPoint work. So when I came to IGT, that's kind of why they thought I would be a good fit, because they needed someone to create that kind of design work for the C-suite. So I started at IGT as a presentation designer, and I would travel with the executive team when they were doing board meetings. They were doing pitching new products. They would fly to New York and do like investor meetings, and I would fly all over the place with them. And I was like the PowerPoint guy. I was making decks all day long. But I mean, I stayed at amazing hotels. I mean, I stayed at the Waldorf like 3 years in a row in New York City. I stayed many different places. I've been to places in Reno,
nice.
LA, everywhere. Just doing this kind of work. And I thought like, wow, like this is,
you were happy.
This, was great. Now we did have a creative team, like, Pete, as you remember, we had an entire creative team in Reno, but I was kind of like an independent contributor as a designer for the executive team. So again, politics, right? I picked up on that. So that gave me an opportunity to like be in like the room where things were happening. So that kind of really paved my way to like becoming a manager down the road.
So can you explain to us like now what happens after that? Like how do you transition from PowerPoint, which to the day I fucking hate. I hate that shit, man. That is never been fun to me. That is,
what?
I'm not gonna lie. I love
Keynote
PowerPoint.
and PowerPoint.
I still do.
give props to people who can do it and people who do it. Like designers who are out there listening, if that's what you do, awesome. Props to you. I fucking hate that shit. I will not take that as a freelance job.
So
no fucking thank you.
Let me piggyback off what you just said. And Barney, I gotta head out because I gotta go to the airport tomorrow at 5 a.m. So I gotta bounce.
Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna listen to this and I want to keep watching it. Here's my question: your path.
30 more minutes, bro.
Well, I know, but your path has put you in different positions, and in this one position, you're talking about you just did PowerPoints, and Pete made the statement that he fucking hates PowerPoints. And any designer, if you tell them like, "Oh, you're gonna work doing PowerPoints," any designer's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" They're gonna hate it.
They're gonna hate it.
But here's my question to you: in every position that you were in, you learned something from it. And I'm assuming, this is what I'm assuming from your PowerPoints, that taught you how to have good, really, really good hierarchy and play with your typography and, make it super
absolutely
nice. But with that, I'm going to head out. And I had a great time talking with you. And I'm kind of bummed out that I got to leave because I'm really enjoying this conversation and learning your path. But, you got to get shit done. So definitely I'll leave you with that.
Yeah,
and see you guys next time. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for joining us, Martin. Catch you later.
Nice talking. Yeah.
Remember, just end it for you, not for everybody else.
Just end it for you, yes.
Seriously. Just leaving the studio. Leave the session.
Yeah. Leave the studio.
There's a thing now on the button where it's like, end it for everybody.
Yeah. No, leave studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
So also to Barney at the very end, when we finish the podcast, just stick around for a few more minutes because we have to wait for everything to upload. And then we're good. Yeah.
I see the upload.
Okay,
so anyways,
so how do you? Yeah, go ahead, Sly.
You're going back. Just from. I just want to go back. You designed one PowerPoint, and just by saying yes to that, instead of saying, "No, I don't want to do that," for everybody, That's got to this position, and now you're like creating all these PowerPoints for all the CEOs or the C-suite, and you're getting into all these meetings, like. Did you foresee that happening when you were going to make that one PowerPoint, or you were just like, I'm just going to be nice and make this for somebody?
That's a great question. I mean, I think at the time, when the CEO comes by and he tells you make a PowerPoint,
you make
what do you do, right? You got to do it.
You try not to be an asshole.
Right. I mean, I could have gotten out of it. I could have gotten out of it. I could have reached out to someone else and said, hey, this person wants me to do this. I honestly, I don't even feel like I had clearance at the time to review a lot of the documents that I was being handed, but I had a good attitude. I was positive. I did a little bit see how politics can get you ahead. I saw it literally just happen to me. So I thought, okay, well, this may be a great opportunity for me to be in the room where things are happening. Now, let me tell you, man, I was terrified. I was always terrified. I was very timid. A lot of designers tend to be very shy and timid. I was very quiet and timid. I did not want to speak. I did not want to be loud. I just kind of wanted to be under the radar and just be quiet. I thought, okay, let me just I honestly didn't really take a full advantage of that opportunity at the time. But I think that my demeanor, my finesse when I talk to people and the way that I treat them and the fact that I was reliable and when something needed to be done, it got done when it was supposed to be done. And I kind of took ownership over my work. I feel like those things made me easy to work with. So then people just kept calling me back. Right. And I think that that's been kind of a through line to my entire career. I think that because I've been a person that's easy to work with, it's gotten me into places that I probably would have never been. So at the time, I really didn't see it as an opportunity. I thought I was really terrified. I'm like, man, I got to figure this out. But it did over time end up,
paying off.
It put him in a good place.
It's just, Absolutely. It's like one of those moments where it's like, you could, like you said earlier, you could be the asshole and be like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to pass it off to somebody,
or
I could just, suck it up and do it. And then it pays you back. And in everything, I feel like anytime you take the high road and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to suck it up. Like it always pays you back, 5 or 10-fold. It always comes back in favor of you. And then
now, once I got to IGT, though, the game was on. That's when I realized, like, okay, now I have to play this game, right? Like, I got to take advantage of this opportunity. So I think I was a bit more savvy at that point. Still kind of shy and timid, but I knew that what I was doing was more intentional. So instead of just doing it out of like kindness, I knew that, okay, this could be a strategy for me to be more relevant and more like, people know my name, people see my face, they know who I am. I mean, when the CEO walks around and says, hey, Barney, what's up? Yeah. Like, that's a big deal, right? Like, my director was like, don't mess with Barney, because if he gets upset, then
he'll tell
who knows what's going to happen.
Whoever,
right?
This guy's messing with.
I would have never done that. But I think that's the perception that was given. So I kind of, in a coy way, kind of play with that.
So when Pete came, he just messed with you nonstop, right? Like he didn't even care, because that's what he did to me.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Barney, remember when that what was he, a VP, when his fat belly hit the corner of the cubicle and he shook the whole cubicle and I started laughing super loud?
God, I can't remember that.
It was the Italian guy. He was the CEO's like fraternity brother or something, the chubby guy.
Someone's gonna come get you, man.
Hey, man,
that's fine with me, bro. That's fine with me. But anyways,
you don't care.
This is one of my funniest stories at IGT. I can't remember his name, Luigi or some shit like that. Like he came, he had a big old pot belly, and he came out of the office and he came around the corner too sharp, and he hit the corner of the cubicle with his belly, and he shook the whole thing, and I started fucking laughing. And all I see was the entire team, like prairie dogs, look up at me and then look down. They like start typing and sending me IMs. Like, dude, why'd you laugh? I'm like, because that shit was funny.
Yeah, you laughed super loud. I do remember that. And I was like, dude, why are you laughing? Do you know who this guy is?
Like, I didn't give a shit. I mean, I want to say for the first 3 months, I was always talking to everybody. Like, I didn't care. Like, to me, like being in the Army, and like I've been yelled at by sergeant majors, I've been yelled at by 2-star generals. Right. And it was just like, whatever, man, you're a human being at the end of the day. Like, your power doesn't make you any more important. Your time is not any more important than my time.
Can you put that in civilian talk, Pete? Like, you're talking about these generals. So how would that be?
A sergeant major to me would be, if I put that at civilian side, would be like a VP, right? And like a 2-star general would be like the CEO kind of thing, right?
Oh, sure.
But at the same time, again, it's just, you are a human being. You've either got there by connections or by really fucking hard work, and I can respect that. But respect is earned. If I punch you in the face, you could bleed just as much as I do. So that's the way that's my mentality. You're still a human being. It doesn't matter whether you're a fucking CEO, VP, or junior designer. Treat everyone with fucking respect. Period. Like, I'm not going to be scared of you. It's, again, when you get shot at and almost blown up, your perspective on life changes. So that was
absolutely. Yeah. I hear that.
So that was always my perspective. I'm like, I'm just going to talk to you like you're just another human being. But I want to say it took about 3 months for me to realize that there was 4 CEOs, and our direct CEO, I would always say bro to. I was like, good morning, bro. What's up? And he would say hi. He's like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I'm like, just chit-chatting. And then I realized he was a CEO, and I'm like, oh shit, I've been calling the CEO bro for fucking 3 months. Like, I was
this
like,
whole time.
But he always talked back to me. He goes, hey, how are you? How's your morning going? And like, that made me respect him even more, And I remember too, there was some like, I don't know if he was a director or VP, and he was a friend of a friend of mine. And he came to the R section, and I, gave him a high five, and we like shooting the shit. And Barney was like, how do you know this guy? I'm like, oh, we were fucking shooting the shit this weekend, having beers. And Barney was just surprised. Like, this guy's just talking to fucking everybody. I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, you're just a human being. Like, there's, I still respect the position and the title and everything, but I'm not scared of you like that. But that's just me, my mentality of who I've been and the experience that I've had. Again, my stress levels have been super fucking high, where I've almost been blown up. I've been shot at. That, doing graphic design is just doing graphic design.
Yeah, you also came on at a very kind of transitional time, because it was like after a merger and everything was kind of new. Everyone was kind of getting to know the new structure and the new we, like you said, we didn't know who was like the executive and who wasn't. And the new folks that came in, it was hard to understand what was going on. And you kind of came into the company around that time.
It was so fun, man. It was so fun working there. I was super happy when because I applied there after we got let go of Tropicana. So Tropicana got acquired by Penn National Gaming, and then me and Sly got moved over to M Resort. And we went from leading everything in the marketing department to doing directional signage. And
to be in like production, like going from the top to the very bottom. And they really did not want us around.
Yeah. And they were like, they were pretty much doing us like a favor. Like, hey, okay, we'll toss you a bone. We'll keep you on board. And it just demotivated myself and Sly to just point of just like, why the fuck are we here? Like, and having to get reviewed a poster that says, pull this way. And they're like, the creative director needed to see that. It's like, are you fucking for real? Like, you need to see me that I pointed the arrow the right fucking way? Like, come on, man. Like, this is fucking stupid.
After a week, I was like, I got to start finding a new job. And I think we were talking about that after. Like,
Exactly.
This is not the place.
Yeah. So I worked at a crack deal with the director of HR so they could shut down my position, and I got, my payout. And then I applied at IGT, and I remember getting hired. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I want to say if the opportunity was there, I don't think I would have left IGT for at least, 7 or 10 years. Because it was just a fun, very, very fun company.
Yeah, no, it could have. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was there 10 years. I have no regrets. I really enjoyed my time there. I really learned to be a designer at IGT more than I think anywhere else. I learned to be a manager, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to lead a team that I hadn't done before. And I mean, we were pushing out, I don't know, like 50 games a year.
Wow.
So that required, campaigns, websites, videos, run sheets. It required trade shows and constant, collateral for the casinos. If a casino wanted to brand an area, with the theme of a particular game, then that could be something we were doing. We were also doing a lot of events and trade shows. So it was like the whole spectrum. I mean, it was everything. We were literally doing just about every single thing that you can imagine, from building apps to building websites to social media campaigns, digital, things that are common now, but back then I don't think they were that common. Well, at least not. I hadn't done that kind of work before.
When you were at IGT, what was your highlight of those 10 years that were there? Like, give me some of your highlights.
I mean, I think prior to the merger, I think I enjoyed going through the rebrand. It was right before your time, but IGT had the same logo for 30 something years, and they wanted to be. They were going from a manufacturing company, kind of building cabinets or slot machines, like the physical materials in the physical cabinets. And then they were really putting a lot more emphasis and effort into the game development side, right? So they had one of the biggest library of games. They were also putting more emphasis on technology.
So was this
Pete's like just putting everything out here,
logo?
man. So so this is the original logo that if you look at that logo, it looks like an old TV. You know how those old square TVs with the round screen? So that's and that's how old slot machines used to look like, that kind of TV. So we went from that logo to that. Pete, if you go to my portfolio, I do an entire breakdown of that rebrand. It's Barney Abramson.
My portfolio,
myportfolio.com.
Because I was just looking at it right before the podcast.
Sly, if you have it, can you pull it up, please? I'm trying to find all my links.
And I did a whole breakdown of that entire process. But to me,
I'll see about pulling it up.
To me, that entire rebrand was just a fantastic experience. I mean, and the thing, going back to being in the room where things happen, I remember, like a year, maybe longer prior to that happening, I remember being in a meeting.
This one right here?
Yeah, so if you go down,
no.
Nope. You got to go to like so if you do Barney
like
Abramson,
his actual portfolio, yeah. I'm sorry, let me.
Yeah, Barney Abramson.
Oh, it's not.
.myportfolio.com.
I had it up here. My bad.
It's on there, but the other website, it's on the chat too, Pete.
There's here on the side, studio chat.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Gotcha.
Green.
So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that because I mean I've never really been to a rebrand before, not of that magnitude, and I mean this is like a multi-million-dollar 2-year project. It really did take a long time, and we worked with Landor, and Landor obviously being one of the biggest agencies really.
So there's the old one, right? You're seeing it.
That TV logo, is that still being used on like bar tops?
No,
I swear to God, I've seen that before.
You may see it from like the legacy games, or maybe it was never replaced. Okay. They changed it.
And this is what you created.
So like the whole idea was to be perceived as a technology company, right? Because they were doing more softwares for casinos, they were developing games, and they wanted to be known as a technology company, not a manufacturing. So Landor came up with this amazing design system, and those lines are supposed to be spotlights shining down on the logo, right? So imagine like, an event or something. So it was kind of talking about entertainment and talking about excitement and all that. So that's kind of what they created. But after the rebrand or the design system was created, it was our job to make it come to life, right? So we had to rebrand every single aspect of the company, from the cabinets to the games to the one sheets
to these
to everything we designed. And in Avatar, we actually had a deal with Avatar, and Avatar was really the launching pad for the rebrand. So at G2E, we launched the Avatar game, the new rebrand, the new look and feel.
I still have that action figure.
Yeah, man, it was.
Yeah, I have it somewhere in storage. The IGT Avatar action figure.
This one?
Yeah. The IGT did it was for G2E. They did that's cool. a little figure with it.
And the best part was like the James Cameron crew came to IGT and they walked us through like the entire design system. That's prior to making the game, right? So it was just an amazing experience, and we just built. We built so much. I mean, we had no budget.
The culture was very different, right? That like during this time frame of IGT,
this was really cool.
Was very different.
Yeah. Did you make this too?
Yeah. I mean, it was still like the heydays of like gaming in Vegas. We were still going through that, time in Vegas where, gaming was still very popular and very big. So we had no budget. We could do whatever we wanted.
This is like your major rebrand, right? Like this whole setup right here. This is when you unveiled it.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is cool.
Right. And prior to that, I mean, it was very old school, very dated.
At that time.
So yeah. And then if you go to that other project, Pete, that one. So one of the assignments that I had many assignments, or the team was, but one of the assignments that I had was creating a brand book. Anytime you rebrand, you want to give the employees something to engage with. Typically they make a brand book that has like all the talking points and the mission, vision statements, and all that good stuff, right? But I didn't want to make a traditional brand book. I wanted to create something more interactive. So I came up with this idea of making this. Basically, they're like playing cards, and they have slits on them, and you can kind of interlock them together, and you can make different things. And literally within one day, look what the employees did. They took it and they pinned them. They made bridges. They made all kinds of things with it. And it was just really like everyone just loved it. They loved the brand. They loved everything we did. Wow. I mean, we had so many activities and things we did around the brand launch that it just completely. I mean, it was just a great experience. I don't know what else to say.
Who was IGT's main competitors during that time frame?
There's the bridge.
Well, back then it was Bally. Okay. Bally was like the big dog too. Yep.
So at what point did IGT get was it bought and then rebranded yet again.
Right. So literally, I mean, again, this is maybe TMI, but my belief is that IGT was transforming, and they had made a plan to basically be sold. So they took something that was old and dated, like a manufacturing company. They polished it real nice. They added a new logo, a new brand, some cool games, some cool licenses. Yeah, and immediately another company was like, "I want you," and they bought it for $4 billion. And it happened literally like overnight. We went through this 2-year kind of rebrand thing, and the second the rebrand was final, and we said to ourselves like, "Hey, we're done. The rebrand is done. We're final." And then the talk about the merger came up, and then it actually became an acquisition, not a merger. And then we got bought out by G-Tech at the time. That's what they were called. And they came in and they just kind of rebranded everything, like literally overnight.
How long did the rebrand process take before the bought out or the buyout?
Like how long did we have the rebrand?
Take, like design wise for you guys from like, hey, we're gonna get the rebrand, the new look and feel.
God, that's a great question.
Booklet, I mean, everything that you guys designed as a team.
Right.
How long was that process?
I would probably like a year of like nonstop working on stuff. I'm going to say probably like a year and a half.
What was your salary at this time frame?
In the 60s, 67
For those of you listening, gaming companies do pay pretty well. It's a solid.
They pay well, very well.
I always tell anyone that's new in graphic design, especially here in Las Vegas, if you want something solid, reliable, gaming company is the way to go. If you go with the bigger names, yes. If you go with the bigger names, for sure. The smaller studios, they could always get bought out, and there's always risk with that, just like an agency or any small company. But if you go with a big name, like it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's reliable, solid paycheck.
Yeah, it was fun.
Lots of cool artwork and just fun stuff that you'll learn for sure. So,
I mean, Vegas is different now in many ways, but back then, it really was kind of the heydays of gaming, and I was lucky to be part of that time period. But then, obviously, as you know, a lot of these gaming companies started merging with each other. They started buying each other out, and then before you know it, it was like 2 or 3 main. Yeah, it's like 3 main ones right now, and but I was part of that time frame, and then I was part of that second rebrand. Which is the G-Tech, IGT kind of combination of the logo, which is also my portfolio. But that was another rebrand that I was part of. I think I was a bit more. This one was done in-house, I believe. I think we had consultants that came in and out, but it was mostly done in-house.
How did you feel about that?
So my team was very
How
involved.
Did you feel about working on one rebrand to finish it up, and then right after they sell, they're like, hey, we're going to rebrand it again. So all the work that you just did is now, like.
Well, I mean, when you hear that, you're getting bought for $4 billion and you get to stick around, you want to stick around.
But
right? Like,
where's my cut of the $4 billion?
So, they obviously, no, I wish. No, there were mass layoffs, right? There were, a lot of consolidation, right? And I made the cut, and I was happy to make the cut. I think that the transition during the acquisition was weird. We spent like 6 months literally watching YouTube videos, waiting for instructions. Like we were literally just sitting around waiting for something to happen, because there was, a lot of movement happening. The company, they had headquarters in another state, and we had headquarters in Vegas, and then another one in Reno. And it was just a lot of confusion. But I think at that point, that's when I joined the creative team. Right after the merger, I ended up, because I remember I was an individual contributor up to this point. And then I went from presentation design to the brand team, is something that they call the brand team. And I was part of the brand team. So I became really embedded into the rebrand. And then when the rebrand was over, a lot of people left. My director left. So I was kind of left alone. And then eventually, in that consolidation, they brought me into the creative team, and I became a manager and I became an art director at that point.
So
That's a cool transition.
During that merger, you were literally lost as far as like, there was no work that needed to be pushed out, like nothing. It was just confusion, or what?
There was a really big push and pull between creative teams, right? We had our Reno team, we had our Vegas team, and we had our Providence team. And there was just a big like, oh, I own this now and you own that. And, you know, while everyone was fighting, again, I was still an individual contributor. I'm just over here waiting for instructions, right? So then my director leaves, my direct manager leaves. The marketing department's kind of on shambles for a while. And I literally sat around watching YouTubes for probably 3 months, maybe longer.
What did your directors tell you? Like, you know, because they left, they were like, did they give you like...
They said if you could stay, he said you could stay, but you're not going to be happy. Shit. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And he was right. I mean, the culture just changed, right? We went from a very carefree, kind of techie, startup mentality type of company where we literally had no budget. Everything we did, we just thought it up. Like, let's make this thing. Let's run a billboard. Let's take all the billboards on the strip. We could have done that if we wanted to. And then we went from that to a very conservative, very strict, very business focused, kind of, you know, traditional leadership. And they wanted to clear everything up. They wanted to have some structure, and they wanted their people to drive everything. And I was kind of stuck in the middle. So I went under the radar. I stayed very quiet for about 3 months, and then they called me and said, "Hey, Barney, we want you to lead the team," and that's how I became a manager.
And then bam, nice. He comes on board.
Yeah. So up until that point, you were independent.
Came on board a little bit later.
You're like, "Hey, now you have a team." Did you feel comfortable leading that team?
I know. So back to my mentoring days and back to me, you know, I always knew I always wanted to be in a leadership role, or at least in a management role. I think I was always very compassionate, and I was more of like a coach than a manager. I think I tried to really help and kind of build up the team. I was never really it was less about me and more about the team. So when I got that opportunity, it felt like, oh my God, finally I get to do this thing that I always wanted to do. So I think mentally I was preparing myself for that. I wanted that to happen. So from not being laid off to getting an art director position, I think it was, I felt like I was pretty lucky.
So then we start all this off, and then, you and I worked together for about 3 years.
Pete was my first hire.
When we grabbed drinks and we talked about, Barney coming on the episode, he told me that. I was, that's awesome to hear.
You were my first official hire. Did you know then that he was
going to give you shit about your UPS uniform?
No, I had no clue. Had I known, it would have probably gone
to the job.
Cut this guy.
So I go ahead, Pete. Go ahead. I know you're going to ask something. No, I was going to say that, you came on in a very transitional period, right? We had been sitting around for months, and then eventually they're like, okay, Barney, we figured it out. We know what we're going to do with marketing. You're going to lead the creative team with our creative director, and you get to build this team. A lot of the designers that came with the other company fell under my guidance as well. So I went from like nothing to like 7 designers. And but then again, people were still kind of moving around, and I got the opportunity to hire someone because we had lost someone else. And, when Pete came on board, I feel like I made a lot of mistakes when I hired you, not because you were a great hire, but
don't backtrack. Keep the first part.
Hold on.
He dropped out. Okay.
Hold on. Let me make sure my audio. Y'all making me laugh.
New track. Yeah, your audio.
I think we're good. It says it's just a new recording.
It's his. Your mic dropped again.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to click the settings here.
We're gonna pause here for a second and pause.
Yeah,
and we're back.
Yep. So when I hired Pete, we were going through this.
It was a bad decision overall.
Yeah, it was a weird.
That's what we were talking about.
We had been going. We had been on a really a pause for months, right? And we were told, hey, everything's back to normal. We were giving our marching orders. We needed to beef up the team, so I got Pete on board. But there was a lot of politics. If you remember, there was a lot of politics going on with, obviously different teams, all this, departments being kind of consolidated. There was just a lot of drama. So when Pete came on board, I think I still was a little bit
coming out of that mentality, and we were still very gossipy and very much like, I don't know, we were just like going to lunch all the time, always kind of, I don't know. I feel like as a manager, I did you a disservice because I was a little bit disgruntled when you came on. So we were just like, I was just like, whatever. Like, I didn't care. We wanted you. We were kind of like best friends. Like, we were all, me, you, and Lane, which is joking around, laughing. I wasn't really taking things too serious at the time. So you came onto that environment, and that's why it was a bit like I felt like I did a disservice. Because then later on, when things got better and I was trying to get things in order, it was kind of hard because you would just laugh at me like, nah, dude, I ain't doing that. And I'm like, yo, Pete, we need to like be a serious team now. He's like, we need to be real. Like,
that's just things right.
And you were like, nah, man.
No,
I'm gonna go work upstairs.
I never said no.
No, you didn't.
I might have laughed. Yeah, I never said no. I my biggest thing was just that I always felt that people that were higher than us, that were not in our departments, took advantage of you. And one thing that I told Sly was like, you're gonna like Barney because Barney is very much like you. You both are very like level-headed, easygoing people. Like everyone likes you. You earn everyone's respect. But it's just like they also see that kindness and they try to like take over that.
Yeah,
and like
for sure.
like step on that. And it's just like, dude, like don't let fuckers like step on you like that shit.
But you have to take into account everything that had happened previously, right? I mean,
understandable.
Again, we went through
knowing the story now.
So much had happened before that, with the layoffs and everything else. So when you came on, it was just a weird time. So we were all like walking on eggshells, trying to like figure out who was the boss, who was the manager, who wasn't. So it was a lot to navigate. But eventually, I think we got into a good rhythm and we were doing good work. I mean, after a while, I think it was pretty cool. So I mean, no regrets.
Yeah, I mean, full transparency, it's been years since I left there. But again, the only reason I wanted to leave was just because I wanted more money. That was just my thing. I got hired on at $65,000, and in 3 years I didn't get that raise, and it's like, okay, I need to see some advancement here. I was still young, and to me, young, no kids, no wife, I was hungry.
Exactly.
I was just hungry to fucking keep going. And I didn't want to step on your shoes, but I was like, hey, if you leave, I'm taking your position. Like,
he told me
that's no problem with me. Yeah,
he told me that.
Exactly. Yeah,
sounds about right.
Because I was like, hey, if you leave, I'm gunning for that position because I know I can do it. I've always seen myself as a leader. And again, I gained that from the Army. But I respected that. Hey, things didn't work out for me, so I left to a horrible fucking job that I hated. But so after I left, I had another designer left. Like, what was that culture like for you? Mentally, that's where I feel that now you started shifting to the Barney that you are today. Like,
right.
What can you explain to us? Like, what happened?
Well, I mean, I think this is where like things. Obviously, becoming a manager really was a lot of pressure, and also dealing with the politics, right? Because my team really was a melting pot of new people that I hired, old people that were there for a long time under another manager, right? Because we had a creative director who was, very particular, and his reign was over, and I took on. So I'm basically taking on people that have been, that have gone through a lot. Let's just say, for lack of better words, right? So there was a lot of repairing that had to happen. Then a lot of training of new people that came on board. Then we also had the folks that came from the other company, right, from G-Tech, that came under my team. They were like in Moncton, Canada, right? So I had to fly out there, meet them. They had a lot of drama that they were dealing with. I think here we go. They had a lot of drama that they were dealing with previously from other mergers and acquisitions they had gone through. So there was just a lot of drama. So I had a very diverse team, and it was just hard to navigate. Go ahead.
Technical difficulties, but anyways.
It is the game.
Where were we? Yeah, where were we? We were just saying.
I think, so this kind of brings the whole trajectory, I guess, full circle. So I became a manager, and I was dealing, obviously, with a lot of politics, and the acquisition was it was quite messy. So once we got out of that kind of messy stage, and I think that's around the time that you left, actually things got better because, like you were talking about leaving because of pay. Well, they went through this entire like company-wide like where they wanted to level everyone out, right? So they went through like getting everyone leveled. I know they took everyone's title and made them all kind of the same title, because we had like senior managers and we had senior designers and then design specialists and then junior designers, and then like it was just weird titles. So we went through like an entire 6 months of like leveling everyone across the company, getting everyone's titles. I was able to get a lot of the I hate to say it, but a lot of the females that were in the team were extremely underpaid. So we were able to get a lot of them to be paid equally. And then Sayuri became my trafficker. We got Trello and then Asana, and like the team was flowing really well. And it really became a well-oiled machine for a while. I thought we were just busting out games, busting out artwork and campaigns left and right. But then it got to the point that, I felt like I'm leading this big team. I need to, I needed to be compensated for what I was doing. And when that compensation wasn't there, I thought, okay, I need to start looking. At the same time, I was under a lot of pressure. I was really giving it 110% because I wanted to do a good job. And I kind of went through burnout. I mean, I literally started having health issues, stomach issues. My blood pressure, which is something I never had before, was out of control. I remember around that time I started running and exercising more. I was doing like 5Ks and half marathons, trying to get my health back in check. But no matter what I did or even medication I was taking, my blood pressure was just out of control. And after like maybe 6 to 9 months of doing that, I ended up having really bad stomach issues and had surgery. Thought I had a hernia. Wow. I thought I had something else. And it was and they literally went to surgery. They went inside and found nothing. They're like, Barney, there was nothing there. It's no hernia, no nothing. And I actually had a lump on the side of my body, like on the side, like right here. It was about like the size of my fist. And that's exactly where like I used to feel the discomfort and the pain. And when they went, because they thought it was a hernia, something was coming out. So they went in and they couldn't find anything. And then they ended up just like doing an external incision, and it was just a mass, like a fatty mass. It's called a lipoma. And I know this is a little crazy, but I believe that my stress kind of manifested itself into this fatty mass on the side of my body.
Yeah.
And after that surgery, I was like, okay, that's it. I can't do this job anymore. And that's when I decided to leave. And anyways, I just left. I left without pay. I left without anything. I could have stayed. I could have, worked something out and gotten, a payout, the nice little parachute everybody gets after, 10 years. But my health was more important, and I left. And like I was saying earlier, my wife was going through her MFT degree, marriage and family therapist degree. And I just started learning more about mental health. And that's where like my whole mind started changing, and I became a bit more open to what I was going through, what other designers are going through. And that's kind of where the mentoring happened. Just because I felt like if I'm dealing with this shit, somebody else got to be dealing with it too. And that was like 5 years ago. And then, thankfully, thankfully going into Southwest Gas gave me the opportunity to like slow down, really focus on my health and the family, and be more present at home. And it actually gave me the freedom to start blogging and mentoring, and which I've been doing now for like almost 3.5 years, not longer.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, that mass, like going back to just that amount of stress that you were under, like that is fucking crazy, bro.
I still have a giant scar on the side of my body, no lie.
Man, that is. I'm sorry that you went through that, brother. Yeah. Like that is an enormous amount of stress, and just wow. Like anyone listening, like obviously no job is worth your health like that.
Health. Absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
You always have to take care of yourself. Again, we're not pulling bodies out of fucking burning cars. Like it's design. Design is meant to be fun. It should never be to that point. It's always encouraged to talk to friends and family members, and just get the help that you can get, because I mean that is man. I know you were a runner back in the day, and you're doing everything, and then all of a sudden like
honestly,
be able to find nothing.
It didn't matter.
I mean, just crazy.
I didn't have the tools. Obviously, I feel like I have the tools now. I didn't have boundaries. I think that's what you were hitting on before. I had no boundaries. I thought, this is my team. I got to protect them. So I'm going to take the brunt of the pressure from the leadership, from my director at the time, from the high volume of projects. I'm going to take the brunt of that, stress. But I'm not going to treat my team that way, right? I'm not going to give them that pressure. But that was not sustainable. I think now I have the tools. I have better boundaries. I have ways to decompress. I know how to take vacation and use time off when I'm feeling stressed. And just having, again, learning more about mental health. I feel like I have the tools now, which I didn't have before. And which is why I talk to designers about finding the tools, having strategies about lowering your stress and having boundaries and a million other things that I talk about. And that's why I talk about that.
So, obviously, what's the website that for your, because you have a separate website for that,
basically,
right?
I was so excited about this new me, I guess you could say, that I was doing everything. I was writing a newsletter. I was also doing a public blog, a private newsletter. I started a creative group on LinkedIn called Creative Central. I also I started doing kind of public speaking. I started a workshop that I was doing. I decided to kind of bring all that into one kind of initiative, and I started Thriving Creatively. And Thriving Creatively is basically an initiative that helps designers and creative professionals overcome work-related stress and trauma that you get from being a designer. Designers, we tend to be, that's my wife right there. Designers, we tend to be, the work that we do gets criticized every day. I mean, we're in the business of being criticized, right? Like, it's like one of the only jobs when people look at your work and they get to critique it. So we go through a lot of stress in many different ways. I think it's a little bit different than what other professionals go through. So this initiative, it started with a workshop where we talk about mental health and we give you the tools. It's specifically made for creative professionals, but it's not just a website. It's not just a workshop anymore. It's obviously a website. It's public speaking. We do coaching and mentoring and a bunch of other things. We have a blog also that people can sign up. So it's in its infancy. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of the work separately in other ways. And I think this is the first time that it's all kind of come together into one initiative that's called Thriving Creatively.
Did you create that logo?
The logo was actually so one of my mentees, her name is Surbi, and I would love to give her a shout out, but her and I worked together on branding Thriving Creatively.
Nice.
Yeah, and I purposely wanted to work with a lot of my mentees. So my website was done by one of my mentees. The logo was created by one of my mentees. A lot of the copywriting was done by one of my mentees. And they did get paid. It was not for free. Designers.
So that's what they called mentees. That's a term.
No, they're my mentees because I mentor them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a term for that. Like
yes,
mentoring people
it's
as
a
mentees.
mentee. Yeah, it's someone that you mentor. Correct.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Now my website. I'll tell you what I did. I built my website publicly. So I never took it offline. I built it publicly. I wanted the whole process to be transparent. It's still not final. It's still being worked on. So you might find some glitches and things that are not working. But it was done by design. I wanted the process to be transparent.
It looks good.
Nice.
I think it looks great.
It looks good.
The funny thing is, people find issues and they send me an email. They're like, "Oh, Barney, I saw this thing on your website," and then we get to talk about it, right? And it always kind of sparks a conversation. So obviously, I don't recommend doing that. But my whole everything I do, kind of like your podcast, you guys are all about transparency and showing other designers and professionals how things are really made, right? Without sugarcoating it. So the website being done publicly was a way of showing, you see these fancy websites and you think they're done overnight. They're not. They take a lot of work, and that was part of that process.
To switch gears just a little bit, which, I mean, again, you're doing such an amazing job for the community, and then just helping people and being a good human being. Now being at a position that you're at now as creative director, like what do you look for in junior designers, senior designers, art directors portfolios to, get a job out there?
God, I mean, listen, portfolios are very important. I think that that it definitely is important to have a good portfolio. And I say it like that because I think that portfolio is not enough. But I depending on what field, obviously design now is so diverse, right? We have UI, UX, we have brand design. I mean, everything's very, very compartmentalized. So it really depends what field you want to go into. I think that what I would recommend a young designer that's building a portfolio is like really study and really find where you want to go, right? It's okay to be a jack of all trades. That's fine. But I think that finding the direction that you want to go early is going to help you channel that energy. So when you're building your portfolio, when you're building your resume, when you're networking, you're going in the right direction rather than just shooting at everybody. There are so many creative professionals out there. I think the design industry has gotten really, I think, a little bit saturated. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, everyone wanted to be a designer. There was boot camps and all kinds of courses. I've seen like nurses trying to be designers, lawyers saying, I hate my job and I want to do something more fun. I want to be a designer. So that we're taking boot camps and coming into the industry, right? So it is very saturated. And I think to differentiate yourself, I think finding your passion, finding that type of design that you want to do and channeling your portfolio for that, I think it's key. Obviously, you want to have a range of projects. You want to show anything from digital. Obviously, if you are into AI, you may want to include that as well. I hate to say it, but even Canva, it's getting a lot of love lately. So if you have your Canva experience or your Canva designs, you should include them in there. It's not only a traditional type of portfolio. I think you should be diverse. One thing also that I would say, you don't want to be just spread out too thin, right? I see some brand designers that are also doing UI UX, and it's like, well, brand design and UI UX are very, very far apart from each other.
Oh yeah. And
when you're doing that, you kind of come off a bit disconnected. Again, channeling your energy towards one field or one area would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Obviously, another thing, I see your question was a bit more specific about what I want to see. What I want to see when I look at portfolio, now that you figure out where you want to go, right? What I want to see is I want to see storytelling, right? I don't just want to see the artwork. We're all creative. We all can do great designs. We all know how to use Photoshop. Obviously, with AI, now you can design something amazing, right? So it's less about the design, but more about the storytelling and the strategy and how you got there. How do you get to that concept? And if you can build a story around it, then that's going to catch my attention.
Interesting. What is one of your pet peeves when it comes to design, or when I see designers like resume that comes across your desk or anything like that?
When I see a portfolio that has absolutely no copy, when you're letting me just judge your design based on just what I'm looking at, that's a red flag to me. Because to me, I don't know, like, was this part of a team? Did you do it together? Did you come up with the concept? Were you in charge of the photo retouching, or were you in charge of layout? Were you in charge of copywriting? Did you write the copy in the design? Like, I don't know. Right? So now you're letting me guess. You're letting me figure out what you did. And I feel like that's a bit of a disservice for the designer. So when you're building your portfolio, having enough instructions in there, enough copy. Again, I think that's what I meant by storytelling. Having that as part of it, it's very important. So when I don't see that, I immediately know, like, okay, there's something missing here.
Gotcha. I have to go move my kids real quick. So Sly, it's all you. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree with you, because I did some interviews recently for a startup I'm consulting on, and looking through their portfolio, I'm like, okay, some of this stuff looks great, but what did you actually do versus what's on, like, some of the illustrations? I was like, man, these are really good. And then I see some of the illustrations on other things, I'm like, these aren't as great, but they're still good. But there's a vast,
like, no consistency
difference. And yeah, there's no consistency. So I'm like, did you really do this graphic design or this illustration, or did somebody do this and then you laid out the type? So being really descriptive with it is in my opinion, more helpful, especially when you're trying to hire somebody.
Absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your mentoring? Like, how did you get that started, and how are you informing people about how to find you? Because up until this point, I hadn't heard about you guys thriving creatively.
Well, so thriving creatively is very new. It literally started this year. So before that, before that, if I go back maybe 2.5 years ago during COVID, I was at home. We were all kind of home doing nothing, and that's kind of the time that I started writing. And through my writing, I was being very honest about my burnout. I was being very honest about my experience as a designer, how I got to my position, and in really talking about a lot of the struggles that I went through. And during that process, I would get folks that would read my blog, and they would reach out and say, "Hey, Barney, I went through the same thing. That same thing happened to me," or "I'm going through that same thing right now," right? And they would say, "Hey, can we have a coffee chat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Book me. Let's have a coffee chat." And I would, we were all kind of doing that during COVID. There was a lot of, coffee chats, a lot of Zoom meetings that we were having with random people.
Too many,
right? So all these, a lot of them were younger designers. A lot of them would reach out to me because of something that I wrote. They would come to me. We would have a coffee chat. They would want to see me again, right? And I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just start mentoring. I don't, it was kind of weird to like say that, but I'm like, maybe that's what it is, right? Like that's what I'm doing. So some folks requested to see me on a regular basis. So I started mentoring kind of ad hoc. I had like a Calendly, people would just book me, and then we would just meet on Zoom. And then then I found ADP List. And ADP List is a platform that connects mentors and mentees. It's completely free. I love their mission, and I said, okay, I love this mission. Let me be part of this company. So I joined ADP List again, all pro bono. Everything was free, and through ADP List, I was able to connect with a wider audience of designers and creative professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where my mentoring took more form. So I had like scheduled hours that I was doing after work and all that. And I was meeting with folks more regularly. And I mean, I think I've clocked in like over 10,000 minutes of mentoring. And last year I was named like the #1 mentor of the, there was like a top 100 mentors on ADP List. And I was able to make that list because I really took it. I mean, it just became my passion. So I was doing it almost daily. So anyways, that was what kind of built my mentoring program. And obviously now that it's becoming Thriving Creatively, I'm still trying to figure out how to transition from ADP List to Thriving, which it'll probably happen here in a couple months.
Okay. That's awesome. I mean, are you connecting with people not just locally, but like I guess like internationally too?
Yeah. So through ADP List, I'm able to meet with designers from all over the world. So I've mentored over 250 designers from all over the world. So it's pretty much everywhere, which is funny because I've gotten really good at accents and figuring out what people are saying. Because
do some.
No. I mean, like understanding.
Not on this podcast.
Understanding accents.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant like doing accents.
No. I'm saying understanding accents. So I've gotten very good at that.
So being internationally, like understanding, what people are asking, do you have like one major takeaway that you're kind of seeing across the board? Like, hey, this is one thing that's kind of troubling designers everywhere.
Right.
Has that kind of question come up without kind of outing anybody, but like, is that one thing that you've seen?
Right. I think that in the beginning, mentoring was more about mental health, right? And the pressures of being a creative person. I think it morphed into more of a help me find a job type of work, right? So everyone's really just like, how do I fix my resume? How do I fix my portfolio? How do I network, right? Who do I reach out to? Where can I find places to apply for jobs outside of LinkedIn, right? So it has really become more of that. I think that I would say more than 50% of my mentees are probably looking for work. So what I've noticed more and more is the the saturation of designers coming into the industry, and then the lack of jobs. I've also noticed that companies are not hiring entry level anymore, which is, I don't understand this. I just don't get it. Like, how do you not prepare the next generation of designers? We're all going to get old at some point, and we're all going to be gone, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see.
How do you get somebody to that position, though? Honestly, because you can't.
Yeah. So I'm seeing more and more younger designers not being picked up, not being hired. I don't see, if you look at a lot of these jobs, even the one that say entry level, they want you to have 5 years of experience. How's that entry level? They want you to know 10,000 softwares. How's that entry level? They don't offer any kind of
video
mentoring.
editing, UI, UX, motion.
They don't offer any kind of mentoring. They don't offer any kind of what's that called? Internships, right? Or sponsoring folks that are coming into the jobs. Like, they don't offer any of that. So I'm seeing a lot of young designers, extremely talented, just kind of sitting around waiting to start their careers, and they're just having a hard time finding work. So that is the biggest thing that I've seen, which obviously leads to a lot of stress and personal issues, which, you know, are things that we do talk about. But yeah, that's kind of the trend that I'm seeing. That's the struggle that I see the most.
Do you think that's more of a leadership issue than the company issue? You know, because everywhere I've been to, I've always tried to like implement an intern program,
right?
Even if they don't have one. When I was at Tropicana and I was a senior designer there, I was like, hey, I want to start an internship program. They didn't have one before that,
right?
You know, and it's like getting that experience. You know, I think it's a leadership thing, you know, when it comes to like a marketing department, design department, it's just, hey, you know, we need this, like pushing back on that and having strong leadership.
Yeah, no, companies are just not prioritizing it. And I think it really is up to folks like us, right, that we're managing younger designers to bring those programs to companies, right? Maybe they don't understand why it's important, right? I do also see like a shift, especially with AI, to like automate everything. And, you know, it's like, well, maybe we don't need 5 designers and an internship program. Maybe we just need 3 and AI, right? So I see a lot of that. But yeah, I just don't see companies prioritizing it. It surprises me the amount of folks that I talk to, you know, young designers that are just frustrated with the job market.
I mean, it is a tough job market out there too right now. I mean, again, as a full-time freelancer, you know, I am a family man, so I have to put, you know, food on the table. And again, I'm taking every job left and right that I can. And honestly, I've applied for over 100 jobs since February. Since February till now, I've applied for over 100 jobs and I've gotten 3 interviews.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, man, like, is my portfolio shitty? Is my resume shitty? Like, what's going on, man?
And you know,
I know my shit's solid,
right? You know you're talented. You know you could do the work. You've done it before, so it's not you. But it's just I think
it feels that way.
Broken.
Yeah, no, but it feels that way. You know, like I know we have AI tools that are reading people's resumes, and you know, the designer that's making their stuff super cool, and like, hey, I'm a designer, my resume is not going to look boring like everyone else's. But then you have an AI tool that just reads it real quick and says nope, and then rejects you.
Right? Like
that sucks. That sucks big time. You know, like I feel like that part of the system is definitely broken. I had a friend of mine who applied for just a graphic designer position with an agency, and they ended up switching the title, and he ended up getting hired for a much higher title.
Right.
And he talked to his boss and he goes, hey, how many people applied for that graphic designer position? That position was open for about, I think, 3 months or 2 months. No, 30 days. I think about 30 days. Can you guess how many people applied for that position of graphic designer for an agency in 30 days?
Definitely over 100.
Try to guess a number. Okay, over 100. But like, try to give me more specific. How many resumes do you think came across his table or his desk?
I don't know. I mean, so if he's the hiring manager, he probably didn't see that many.
14,000.
No way. Oh my God, that's insane.
Jesus Christ.
Resumes were not presented to him, but that's how many submitted their resume, came through HR for that position. 14,000. I'm like, something's wrong with the system.
Yeah, I also feel like
just
because there's such an influx,
no human being can go through that.
Yeah, because there's such an influx of kind of this new type of designer, right? The ones that maybe didn't go to school for it, maybe went through a boot camp, maybe learned by themselves, right? I think that does contribute. Not that they're not talented. I'm not saying that at all. There's some of the most talented designers that I've even hired didn't go to school and learn on their own. So it's not that. But I do feel like there is just a huge amount of talented designers out there that are hungry and looking for work. And I don't know that there's enough jobs for it. I don't know. Definitely is a puzzle that I've been trying to crack, and I have not been able to figure it out.
I do think that there is like designers and there's multiple jobs out there. But one thing that he told me was that there was people that had no design, background whatsoever, and they were applying for those jobs, and then we have a big push on designers from like India and Thailand and Bali that are just like submitting shit that it says, US based. I mean, when I was with the magazine, I was looking for freelancers and I would post stuff, I would say US only. And I was getting people from Pakistan saying, hey, I could do this for, $6 a layout. And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like US based on that stuff. I do think there is designers, but some of them is just like, you're not catering to, what you want to look for, like what specific industry. You're just kind of like shooting in the dark and hopefully something lands. But it's just, there's just people that I can't imagine, hey, there was 14,000 people that submitted their resume for this position.
That's
like,
insane.
How the fuck do you go through that?
And how many have you?
That's just crazy.
How many have you looked through so far?
Exactly. Yeah. That's just.
I don't
understand. Something with the system is wrong.
COVID
for sure.
definitely had a lot to do with it because, COVID really opened up the floodgates for remote work, and a lot of companies went from hiring. They went from hiring in their local cities and towns to now hiring everywhere. And then you do get that influx of applicants from other countries. And now that we're past that moment, I think that's still happening. Listen, the design industry is more global now for sure, but it's hard when you're, trying to hire someone in Las Vegas and you get hundreds of applicants from abroad that you're probably not even going to hire. And then the other thing that I noticed is that a lot of jobs, they'll say remote or they'll say hybrid, but they never tell you like you have to be in this city or we're only taking applicants from these locations, right? They're very vague. I mean, another trend that I've seen on LinkedIn, which kind of makes me sick a little bit, it's like folks posting jobs like, oh, here's 40, 50 jobs I found, right? And they're posting all these jobs and you get excited when you see the list of jobs. But then you go through them and you're like, okay, this is not good. They already have hundreds of applicants, or they're not really remote jobs. You have to live in New York or you have to live in Utah to get the job. So it's like
make a big move.
It's just like a free for all. Everyone's like, and I know they do it for. I think it's a strategy to get more impressions. I think it's kind of weird that you would do that. That you would post jobs to get people to like and get more impressions. But I think that's the trend, and I've seen it happen a lot, and it's kind of weird, but that also adds to all the confusion when it comes to applying.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it where it says remote, but we're remote within their city or within
Some
that
say
state.
That,
or it says remote within these certain states. So it's like, oh, Nevada is excluded. You can't be in Nevada, but we accept California and other places.
I just hate seeing this post. We're hiring, and then it's like a little description. And then you're like, okay, but we're hiring where? Where you're hiring?
Yeah.
Is it local? Is it remote? What is it?
One of the biggest things that I've seen trend-wise on LinkedIn is that, like, you'll see the same topic repeated by 10 to 12 different people. Yeah. Designers are not videographers. And then you scroll,
and you see
designers are not videographers. And then you scroll again, designers are not videographers. And it's almost the same fucking shit that they play out. So I start blocking those people. I'm like, I don't suggest this to me because you're either a bot or some shit's going on with LinkedIn.
Well, because they're focused on growth, right? They're looking for growth strategies. Like, how do I grow my account? How do I get 30,000 followers on LinkedIn? I do that by searching what's popular and recreating it and reposting it. It's the same way with TikTok. That's why TikTok trends, you see the same video by the same couple fighting with each other over and over and over. And you're like, it's like literally the same video. They don't change anything. And I think that's happening on LinkedIn as well, where like folks, they search for the most popular post in a particular niche and then they just make it. And, they probably do get the impressions, but yeah, it's very repetitive. And I mean, LinkedIn is growing up. It's becoming more like a social account, like Instagram and TikTok. So they're kind of going through some growing pains, but that's kind of what happens when you have this influx of people trying to be content creators.
Yeah, very true. I mean, in a way, we're doing the same thing, but we're just doing what we do. Like it's just shooting the shit. 3 homies having a beer and just talking about design, like the real shit about design.
No, I mean, I think your podcast,
we're trying to be different.
I think your podcast is very unique. I love the approach. I love that you guys are kind of raw and unfiltered in a way. I think that there is a lot of filtering when you see podcasts. They're very curated, even when they're not supposed to be. So I like this kind of raw type of podcast. I like the longer form so that you can really get to know someone and really learn about the struggles that someone went through, not just the highlights. So I very much appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, we definitely appreciate that. But I mean, that is reality with design. It's not just, hey, you can design all this stuff and make money. Like, I hate the bullshit of like, you should be charging $35,000 for a brand identity. Like, dude, I've been doing this for fucking 15 years. I've never even gotten close to that shit.
Doesn't work that way. No.
No, fuck no. Like, show me your design brief. Show me the client brief that you talk to and say, build a brand with me. And you just fucking make up some bullshit. And then, yeah, I could do that too. But that's not real. That's not how it actually is in design. That's the reason you pay $10,000 for a 6-week boot camp and you're not getting any single jobs because you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
You haven't done it for years and years.
15 guests on here and not a single one has said, hey, I've made a $35,000 client and it was just like this.
No. Yeah.
Exactly. That rarely happens. Without the right connection, the right, experience, the right tenure, it's impossible. It happens. It happens, but it's not that simple.
Yeah. From high agencies who are like doing stuff with big companies. And that's at an agency. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can brag that it's a $35,000 account, but are you getting that $35,000? I don't know. I don't think so, but that's the agency getting $35,000.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I paid agencies $100,000 for a rebrand or a logo or something like that. No issues. I've done that before, but it's hard for me to do that for an individual working from home. Even if they have their small business, it's hard to justify for a business to justify paying that much money for a logo or a brand project. Because, you don't have the researchers, you don't have the copywriters, you don't have the executive leadership that probably has seen this and done this many times before, right? You don't have that backup. You don't have that muscle to be able to present something to the client, right? People pretend they do, but it's really just not that simple. So again, I like that you guys are showing the truth behind the pixels, like you said.
Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
The truth behind the pixels.
As we wrap this up for the night here, what's one question that you would ask to our next guest? We don't know who that is yet, but we're trying something new here.
What's a question that I would ask the next guest? Wow, that's a good one. I would say, I mean, it's funny. I've been on a Canva kick lately, and I've been at my last job. I was implementing Canva. I went to Canva Create conference earlier this year, and I've turned the corner on Canva a little bit, actually a lot.
Interesting.
I've seen a lot of companies use Canva for, companies like Disney or Lucas, Reddit, DocuSign, using Canva for in many different ways. Obviously, it's not a replacement for Photoshop or Illustrator, but there's many ways to implement that. And I would love to know from your future guests, how are they using Canva? Are they using it, and how are they using it? And in general, what are their thoughts about it?
Nice. Yeah, we'll definitely pass that on.
And then any last minute advice that you give to any designer or current designer out there right now listening?
I think the advice that I would give is just, it's be authentic. I think that a lot of designers, the one thing that I've seen, and I poll this all the time, and the one thing that I see come up over and over is imposter syndrome, right? Obviously, there's burnout and other things, but I think the one thing that I feel like most designers that I talk to are either struggling with currently or in the past or from time to time is imposter syndrome. And it's that feeling that, I have that. Yeah, same with me for a long time in my career. So, overcoming imposter, he's like, not me. I don't know.
They're like, nope, I got this.
Never for Pete.
But overcoming imposter syndrome can be nearly impossible. And I think I made a comment that just recently to someone that made a post. I said that imposter syndrome is like grief. You can't make it go away, but you can understand it, you can know it, and then you can know how to work around it. I deal with it a lot. I deal with it. I'm actually I'm speaking at the AIGA later this year, and I spoke at the AIGA here in Las Vegas, and I went through like a whole night of like stressing, sweating, couldn't sleep, had stomach issues, and then when I got to the stage, it was great. It's knowing the strategies and techniques. That's kind of what we teach with Thriving Creatively. So I would recommend for anyone that's young or even a seasoned designer or creative professional, if you're dealing with imposter syndrome, it's something that you need to like learn about and try to manage. You can't overcome it. It's very hard to overcome, but you can definitely manage it. So yeah, that would be
awesome.
Advice.
Awesome.
And
thank you so much for the advice.
Last plugins, your social channels, IG, TikTok, YouTube,
absolutely.
Anything.
So Thriving Creatively, you can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We're very active there. We're really not active anywhere else. We literally just chose those two platforms. You can find me at Barney Abramson _ on Instagram. Also, please follow me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. I'm always sharing tips and strategies on how to overcome work-related stress for creative professionals. And we have a lot of good things coming with Thriving Creatively. Like I said, we're going to be at AIGA Design in October. We're going to be at Phoenix Week in September. So if you do come to one of our workshops, please come over, say hello.
Awesome. Well, Barney, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We'll definitely have to do this again because I feel like there's many more hours of conversations that we can have.
Absolutely.
Plus, we want to hear your whole new ventures once you get your feet settled
Absolutely.
in your new place, and all the new cool artwork that you're going to be creating, especially that agency vibe that you've never been part of.
Absolutely.
Because I know you're going to crush it.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely,
I appreciate
you're going to crush it. So. If you've made it this far, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Room250 Podcast, on the Tiki-Taki at the Room250 Podcast. Follow our channel on YouTube here. Listen to us on Spotify. Sly, am I forgetting anything?
Drop us a comment down below letting us know you made it to this point. Leave us what would you say for mental health awareness? What kind of emoji?
Yellow heart.
The brain and the poop. I don't know.
Your heart.
Yellow heart.
Leave us a heart emoji if you made it to this part.
It's gonna be me. I'm gonna comment on it. It's just on our own video.
It's gonna be a bunch of hearts.
Awesome. All right, creatives, stay creative. Take a break. Take care of your health, and we will talk to you in the next one.
See you later.